Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new episode of GRAFFTV. Tonight, we have another superstar in studio with over 20 years in Los Angeles graff culture. His unique designs and brilliant color schemes can be seen all throughout the city of Angels. He's a vandal, a muralist, and a fine artist. I'm honored to welcome one of the most skilled and creative graffiti vandals of all time, and a living legend in Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the one and only ARBE KOG LTS. Yeah, man, we finally got you in the studio.
It's good to be here.
Hey, man, how you doing? Thank you for coming on studio and sharing your history with us, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you inviting me.
I'm from Los Angeles, and I feel like I basically grew up seeing you all over town. You were also one of the first writers I remember seeing on the side of several liquor stores growing up, man. I'm excited to finally have some answers to some long-awaited questions. But first, I'd like to begin with, where do you originate from? Where are you from?
I was born in Long Beach Memorial Hospital, and when I was, 2 or 3 years old, my parents moved to Orange County, Santa Ana, and that's where I was raised.
Nice, man. Did you grow up in Orange County? What was Orange County like in those days growing up? How would you describe it?
I mean, I had fun growing up as a kid. It was cool. It was like, it was a little bit challenging, I feel, for me, because I was a white kid, and there's not that many white kids out there. But, I didn't know any better. It was like, just, I think like everyday, normal.
What was Santa Ana like? Was it a gritty neighborhood?
Yeah, it's pretty. It could be rough. It's kind of segregated, like I'm probably like most towns, but there's a lot of street gangs over there. So like every other street seems to be like a gang or a clique of that gang. So that's pretty much what dominated the city was the gangsters.
What type of kid were you growing up back in those days before graffiti got into your blood?
Skateboarding. Yeah, I grew up skateboarding pretty much, and that's what led me to get into.
How do you get into skateboarding? Was the skateboarding culture big back then? Was it just starting?
Yeah, it was the mid '80s, so it was pretty popular. I didn't even have a bike. I'd rather have a skateboard at the time. They were easier to come by, I guess, too. Or like, even if you couldn't afford a skateboard, there was always the homie who had a skateboard, kick you down the old one.
What was home life like in those days? Were your parents strict? Were they easygoing? Can you describe that situation?
Yeah, I feel like they were kind of strict. They were like old-fashioned, and they didn't want to see me again on the streets. But they would say I was rebellious,
What kind of rebellious things were you doing at that age?
Just being out and about, out at all hours, and like I said, if I wasn't skateboarding, then I was like got into tagging. Before that, it was like skating, and like the way the city was, or like my neighborhood was always like, if there'd be apartments here, and then there'd be like a housing tract here, a mobile home park here. So like we'd always be jumping the walls and cutting through to get to school or whatnot, And my school was like right in a gang neighborhood called Middleside. So I had a homie whose uncle was a veterano from there. So we kind of like we didn't have anything to worry about like walking to school. But on the other side where I lived, there's another gang called Santa Anita. That was kind of more like I felt fear kind of when I would go over there. I felt out of place.
How do you manage to stay out of the gang life growing up there? At every corner, it seems, there was a neighborhood.
I had as a kid, you just knew that it was like the wrong route, Like I was saying, this gang, Middleside, there was a couple like white dudes I remember from there actually, And but what kept me from getting involved with that was just like the skateboarding and the graffiti and the friends that I had.
You're skateboarding in you're skateboarding all along Santa Ana. There's a gang presence all around town. How do you, being a skater, evolve into graffiti? Do you remember when graffiti first catches your eye? Was it even before skateboarding, or does it come after?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. When I was in elementary school, my school was like right in the middle of this neighborhood, and the gang, like what I remember the first time I remember graffiti was the gang graffiti, and it would be in Old English, and it was like middle side, and then they had like a skull character with maybe like a fedora on in the middle, and that's the first time I remember like seeing graffiti, and I would be on the school bus, waiting to fucking, when you go to school they start loading all the kids. I remember like waiting at the bus, looking out the window and seeing that like every day, and if it was buffed, and it would be like the whole shit, it would be Old English with like the shading from the top of the letters and the bottom letters to the middle, so the middle would be like just the wall. And then after that, it would be like the roll call. And I remember like back then, the gang writing was sick, it was dope.
How old were you when you're seeing this?
3rd grade, 4th grade.
What school are you attending? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was called Heritage Elementary in Santa Ana.
What were your thoughts when you do see that gang graffiti? Are you more interested in the graffiti or the gang lifestyle?
The shit on the wall.
Are you practicing? Are you trying to copy what you're seeing?
No. I started. Did you remember around that time? I don't know what grade I was in. Maybe 4th grade. Could have even been 3rd grade. But the movie Colors had come out, and that's the first time I remember like writing on walls, because me and my friends would play Colors like at recess, and we like literally like would. Some of the friends would claim blood or Crip, and then we'd write that shit in the bathrooms. We had no idea what we were doing, but we just copying what we seen, I guess, from the movie. That's the first time I remember like writing on shit, but I wasn't introduced to like tagging until for me like in 7th grade when I went to junior high school, which was actually down the street from my elementary school.
What junior high is that?
That's called Fitz Intermediate, and there was a lot of shit over there. Like that was like, it was only like, I don't know how like school was for like, how different cities is different the way they run it. Like sometimes they don't even have like a junior high, but my junior high was only 7th and 8th grade, and that's when I started noticing like there was like way more fights and like seeing some like the gang, like rival gangs coming into the school or riding fucking. I remember coming to school one day, on the ground I said "Welcome to Middleside," and and being like, oh shit, like this shit's crazy, you know what I mean? And
you're noticing gang graffiti. Now you move on to junior high. Do you put together that there's a difference between gang graffiti and hip hop graffiti, or?
I had no clue. I remember I used to always get in trouble, or I would like get what's it called? Detention. And if I didn't go to the detention class, if you don't go to detention, they ended up giving you Saturday school. So I always had Saturday school, and then Saturday school would be like 4 hours. And then you get like a 15-minute break or something like that every hour. And there was one of the kids at school, like we were breaking into like the foods class, and like stealing shit from the foods class. And one of the dudes started writing on the fucking doors, and I was like, what's that? And he was some cheesy. I think it was like, his name was like 8 Ball or something. And he drew a little 8 ball, and then it's just that little 8 ball, and then he wrote ball next to it. And that's the first time I heard the word tag. He was like, that's my tag. And then from there, I just remember catching on. Like this other kid came to our school. He like got kicked out of his school or whatever, or moved, whatever, just like transfer kid. But he was local though still, but he just went to a different school, different district. He was tagging as well, and then from there, just like fucking just that was it for me, Like I just started, and it took me a minute to like catch on really, but I was still like I started stealing paint. I didn't know what a mean streaker was, so I thought they were fucking China markers. What do you go to fucking Hallmark and steal shit, and just writing some dumb shit or whatever until like maybe the following year.
Do you ask 8 Ball why is he writing, or what's the purpose?
I asked
why
him,
does he have a nickname?
Yeah, I asked him what it was. He said it was his tag, and I didn't understand like why is that, how's that a tag? What's a tag? And then he's like, just like your name is your tag. I don't even know if it's still that even registered to me still, you know, like a tag. Cause like I was probably thinking like a a tag like on clothing or a tag fucking you're it tag and shit like the game. So I didn't really catch on, but it just seems like at that time everybody like I knew like my friends that I grew up with got into it too with me. So it was fun, you know.
After you see 8-Ball catching his tag, does graffiti then enter your consciousness that you start seeing it more on the street?
Yeah, like I was noticing it on the walking to school. Like I started noticing the different tag styles of the graffiti, and like the fat cap, like seeing a fat cap tag, and then the cholos were just stock tip, they're right on the ground and shit, and the taggers were doing more. I guess prolific spots. Or
Were
whatever.
there any known taggers back then that you recall seeing up?
Oh yes.
That made an impression on you.
There was a crew called TSU tearing shit up. Zaba and C's and ended up being friends of mine. Zaba ended up changing he changed his name several times, but he ended up being the homie Shoot, who passed away and was from one of the first crews that I got into. Because they recruited me. It was one of the first biggest crews I ever got into, and it was like the crew to be from in that area.
What crew was that?
It's D2D, Down to Destroy. I don't know if you've heard of it, but yeah, Down to D2D, D2DIS, which are LA-based crews from the harbor area. They were actually two separate crews, but they battled. This was before my time. They battled, and at the end of the battle, they clicked up. So it became D2DIS. But there's like some heads, and DIS is like what it was hailing out of like Gardena. Well, like a lot of those dudes end up getting in Gardena 13. And D2D was like Long Beach, Carson area, and then they had a brand, because I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's click numbers. So there's like click numbers that would follow after the crew letters. So you would see like a number. That kind of came a little bit later, like maybe 94, late 93. And before that, it was just like your area code. So it'd be like D2DK 714, which is like where I was from. And then
Were you in D2D before the battle happened?
No, I got in after the battle. The battle between D2D and DIS, I got in after that.
How did D2D win the battle?
I'm not sure who won the fucking battle. I think I'm not sure. Like if it was DIS or D2D, I'm not sure how.
But they did merge and become one.
Yeah, they merged and became one.
Before joining D2D and after seeing 8-Ball catch his tag, what name do you decide to write? Do you choose a name after hearing 8-Ball's undercover name?
That was named back then. I can't even remember the name I had, but I remember what sticks out to me is or stands out to me would be Affect, AFEKT. That was one of my first names, but I didn't stick with it. But it's kind of cool because I look back at it now. I think it's kind of a cool name. But yeah, I wrote that for a little bit, and then I wanted to write Mega, but this other kid that I knew went to school in Whittier. I think he went to like a continuation. There was some dudes from WNA over there, and so that's like Norwalk area. He knew a little bit more about the LA scene than I did. They told me about the Mega or Omega from UTI. So like, oh, you can't have that name. So what did I come up with after that? I'm not too sure exactly, but somewhere along the line, I remember this, like I was already in D2D. It's like around 92. There was like there's like trends in graffiti, like people write ER at the end of their name, to extend it, or ism. There was like the double E's were in, and they were kind of trendy, and it was like a double E at the end of your name. And I ended up writing, I chose this name Clee, C-L-E-E. And I wrote that for a long time. All my old school homies I've known from back then, they still call me that. It's a trip because it's almost like I have two different personas, I would say, because like my homies out here, like they don't even, unless they really know me really well, they've heard the name before. But if not, then they're just like, who are they calling? Like, who the
How
fuck's
do you
Clee?
get the name Clee? Where does that name come about?
Like I chose it. I just chose that name.
Were there other names in the running before Clee?
For me?
Yes.
I mean, maybe, but they didn't stick, you know? Like,
Is Klee the name you're writing when you join D2D?
yes.
How do you join D2D and make that connection?
Well, like, so they live like, you know, earlier I was telling you they could like hop a wall and I'd be in a different neighborhood. There's one kid who wrote C's. He lived like right there. He was a little older than me, maybe like, you know, when I was like a freshman, I got in D2D, and some of the D2Ds were already like out, like leaving. They're already like seniors, so they all were a little older than me, and they were just trying to like, they were like, once they saw me getting around, and like the homie Shoot, who wrote Zabo that I was telling you about, he went to the same elementary school as me, so he knew me already, and he was like he was a homie that kind of would school you up on how to be, you know, like he would tell me, you know, hey, don't let fools punk you, fucking, you know, if you're gonna get, you know, just take the beat down, you know, fucking, if it's coming and shit, instead of running around, like, instead of like, you know, fucking bitching out, and just, you know, stand your ground, because I was like, you know, I was a little kid, dude, at the time, and like the majority of the crew was a bunch of Samoans. Like that's how the D2Ds became, because the crew TSU, tearing shit up, was merged into D2D. They basically became D2D, and the OGs from there were the Samoan fools that went to Carson to church. It's like, so Samoans would go to church all day, and they ended up going to church with they went to church with other cats from D2D, like Cheat and like, you know, some of the homies that were out in Carson, and then that's how that came about. And so they basically just took their crew TSU and just merged, just got in D2D.
Why do they allow you in D2D? What made you stand out from other writers that made them want to recruit you into the crew?
You know, I really don't know, but like they had asked me before one time, and I kind of turned it down. And then
why do you turn it down?
Because I started hanging out with these other. I was in another crew. I got into this other crew that was like. So I lived in Santa Ana, so Westminster. If you're going towards the beach, you're going towards the west. It was like a couple cities over. And it was from going to going to like hip hop clubs and shit. There was this DJ Coco. He was from there, from this crew called TKPA, and there was like it was like taking care of punk artists, True Kings pimping around. They were like a Westminster crew, but they were kind of like big when I got in, but they weren't like not doing too much for as big as they were. And then they just recruited a kid in Santa Ana. They recruited my homie I grew up with. But they kind of like were like kind of fading away from graffiti, I guess. And then like I was getting in trouble. I was on probation, and my parents being a little strict were like, you know, at 10 o'clock curfew, better be in the fucking house type of shit. So it was easier for me to like do graffiti than like go out to these clubs and shit, you know, and just be out all night. So it was like easier to go home, be at home, and sneak out the window and go tagging and shit, you know. And then also I went in not elementary school, but in my junior high, one of the brothers from D2D, the Samoans, was in my class, and that's how I got affiliated with the D2Ds, because they lived kind of down the way from me. When I was telling you about the two neighborhoods, they lived in Santa Anita's neighborhood, while I lived in Middleside's neighborhood, but they would have to like cross through me just to get to school, and they had like this green van, like an old school, like shitty van, but they called it the turtle machine from Ninja Turtles, and it was a big ass Samoan dudes, and he would just like pull up to spots, like fucking, if he could like reach out and tag on a pillar, like on the freeway in his van, he would just do it like that. He wouldn't even fucking, he would just stop and fucking do it. And like they're the first cats I rack paint with, like the big fools. He would like, we would go to Chief Autos, he's like, hey, fucking here. He'd just like start shoving paint down my pants and shit. Like all my pant legs would be like fucking stuffed with paint where I could barely walk. But he was like, yeah, I got you, bro. Don't trip. He's like, he was a big dude. Like they were kind of like, they would like, you know, jack people and do crazy shit, you know. So he was just like I seen this fool like, one time I was riding him on his a beach cruiser, and where the bottom of the frame is, and between the frame he would have a 2x4. That's why I'm riding this fool home, and he fucking grabs a 2x4, and we're coming up on somebody, and he's like, whacked him and shit, dude. What the fuck? And it was, you know, that dude was like down for his shit too. That dude pulled out a shank, fucking was about to shank him, but he just beat him down. And when that happened too, I was kind of like, damn, I could need to like fucking reevaluate my situation, you know, like. But at the same time, like Samoan, they had a bunch of brothers. They were like hella cool, and took me in. You know, they took me under their wing and shit. So
how long do you stay in D2D for?
I mean, I never really got out of D2D. D2D's like those are like my brothers. You know, that's where like the people I came from. I just like evolved, I guess, like as far as graffiti goes. Like there was a point in the like mid '90s where a lot of the tag banging came in, and we weren't tag bangers, but we had to deal with that. We had to deal with all the crews that were trying to punk us and shit. Like SSK was one of them. Fucking, we were cool with them at first. They were always cool. Like, and then it just seemed when the tag banging came in, like people started testing people and seeing.
What kind of things were happening in the tag banging era? Can you describe what the atmosphere was like in those?
All kinds of shit, like you know, guns and shit, and fucking chases, all kinds of shit, dude. I remember like there's these alleys in Anaheim because I would hang out in Anaheim a lot, even though I lived in Santa Ana. Like, and back then, like Anaheim and like North, like Anaheim, Fullerton, Buena Park, kind of had like more flavor, like when it came to graffiti, like with styles. Then Santa Ana had a lot of taggers too, but it was just they kind of were like not flexing style wise. You know, I'm not like trying to diss or anything, but it was more just there was just more shit popping off over there, you know, in Anaheim, and that's where SSK was. There was just a clique. I know it's an LA crew, but there was a clique from two brothers from LA moved to Anaheim and started.
Why did things turn bad against SSK and D2D?
There's I think several different reasons. You know, one of them was like a couple of them got in D2D for a second, but then they wanted to fucking call shots right away. Like they wanted rank, and it was like, nah. The homies were like, you can't have rank, you know. And one of them, they were close too, because there was a dude who wrote Cinch from SSK who was also Samoan. So I think there was like a relationship right there with the older homies. And like at that time I had no I was just sitting on the sidelines. I was just a member, you know. And I remember being stoked that those guys got in. The SSK dudes that got in, because at the time they were like dope. Like if I wasn't from D2D, I probably would have wanted to been from fucking SSK. And at that time it was all like you know, when you're a kid and shit, you're like 16, 15, whatever. There's no we didn't have cars, so it was like just like in LA, it was like all the buses. It was like describing buses, and you could not get on a bus that those dudes didn't have, you know. And we had it different. Like the buses weren't rock like they were here in LA. Like for a minute they were, but like before they were putting plexiglass on the windows and it was just all glass with just the big old scribes on them. But they would just be in the back. It would just kind of be in the back of the bus, and that was about it. And they were kind of on the buff, so you would have to like catch like small scribes in the fucking plastic by the window, or like, you know, the metal in the window, the metal frame.
ARBE, you're known as a skillful artist. You're also a vandal. How did you feel during the tag banging era, knowing you're so creative? How did you manage to stay away from tag banging and go towards the art side of it?
That shit didn't really happen for me until I got into KOG.
You're getting busted, you're changing names, but then you find the name ARBE. Can you please tell us, where does that name come from? How do you get it?
The name comes from my initials, from my name, my first and last name. And but then at first, when I first started writing it, I just wrote it R and a B and 1. And it was, I wanted a quick name to bomb, you know, quick. And there was this dude who actually was also he was from the crew, LTS, but not at this time though. He wrote GI, and I thought that was a dope ass name, like GI. You know, also like maybe like GI Joe. I don't know what made me think it was dope, like because I thought the letter was the 2 letters were dope, and I don't know if that's why he wrote GI, but I was just like, no one was writing a 2-letter name. This was writing GI1, and he kind of inspired me to want to do a 2-letter name, you know, quick little bombing name. So that's probably that's what started me separating, I guess, from fucking the D2Ds, even though like that's who I hung out with every day, you know, like I kind of like kept it a secret from them, like that that I was writing this other name. And the other one of the member from there who was like my road dog. We're still like really close today. We're my brother Bleach was at kind of doing the same thing. Him and this dude Flower from SSK and this other kid from this crew called 3DK in Orange County started this crew called RM, Raging Misfits. And he changed his name. He's like, kind of doing the same shit I did, but he was more like upfront about it. And I was like, oh, yo, check out what I did. And we were partying at a hotel in Orange, the city of Orange. It's right along the 5, like by what's over there? Like now it's the block of Orange is right there. It wasn't there back then, or Chapman Hospital. There's a set of train tracks over there, and it's just like a dead line, like the line ends right there. But the fucking circus, the Ringling Brother circus train would go there, right? Like when they would come into town, that's where they park, and they would stay in the train, like the clowns and the fucking the circus people. So we were like always mobbing through there and shit, and we ended up like smoking weed with them and fucking. I ended up creeping out there with the homie GI, but he wasn't GI at this anymore. He had changed his name to fucking go to paint him and shit. And I was like showing the homie at like they were still there, so we took a little walk from the hotel. I was like, yo, come check this out. And that's when I let the homie my homie Bleach know that I'm fucking ARBE. And I wasn't from no crew. I was just pushing ARBE like solo, and so it was kind of like a breath of fresh air for me. I was getting away from the D2D shit, which was like I wasn't like trying to get away from the homies. I was just trying to get away from all the bad shit that was happening. Like I was in and out of juvie. All my own fault, had nothing to do with what they were doing, but I was just burnt. Like I was getting caught for tagging and fucking. As soon as I turned 18, I went to fucking county jail for some shit which wasn't graffiti related, but I was just fucking. If I stayed in Orange County, I would just fuck it. If I kept doing that shit, I was going in and out of jail.
You're writing RB, the initials RB1.
Yes, sir.
When do you transition to the word RB, ARB? Why?
That was probably not too long, within that year.
Why do you decide to do 2 additional letters?
Because then I was bombing a lot with GI. GI ended up changing his name to Sower. And then Sower was from DCV and then BTP, which was like Posh, I believe was the main head. Posh from CBS started BTP. I don't know what their connection with Orange County was, but they started having they had Orange County heads. They had like Olay, Apart, Prey, who was in TKO. And they was like, oh shit! All of a sudden, there's these cats in Orange County like doing like pieces and shit on the freeways, or like took it up a little notch, because before then it was like there was a few piecers out there, but not in Orange County, but not that many. And if anything, the ones that were dope probably ended up getting an LA crews or fucking we gravitated towards LA and shit.
Do you ever tell D2D that you're changing your name to RB?
No, they found out a little bit later. Like,
what was their reaction to finding out?
They would fuck with me. Like the one homie that I was telling you about, my homie Bleach, he was always like supportive. The majority, like, cause I was like by that time I guess I was considered I moved up a little bit in the ranks for D2D. Like the older homies that brought it from Carson kind of faded away. My homie Shoot, fucking rest in peace. He ended up getting He ended up getting killed, and we kept it going. We kept carrying it and building it. We kept recruiting people, so we kind of made it like our crew. But our chapter, because the original homies were like in like Carson and shit and Gardena, but we had homies in Anaheim that came from Gardena. So it was like we were like, and through football they met. So they were already DIS, and then the homies were D2D, and then they met through football. So then all of a sudden, like the original like Santa Ana crew had like there's this clique in Anaheim now, and then we just all became homies.
Now that you have your new name RB, what was your goal with that name? You're tagging everywhere. You're getting up. Are you trying to get known? Are you just writing?
Yeah, I was just trying
bored?
I was just trying to bomb. Because like I felt like every time, before I try to like, I wasn't really piecing yet, but before I was like doing that level of graffiti and I was just tagging, I was like, I felt like I was getting caught up, you know? I was like getting caught for stupid shit. Like every time I've been arrested for graffiti as a juvenile, it was just some dumb shit, or because of my record, they already like knew who I was. And like I was on probation like the whole time from like 14 to like 18. So like they would come to my house, like my house would get raided and for stupid shit, for fucking graffiti. You know what I mean? Like,
do you remember the first time your house got raided?
Oh yeah, dude. The first time I got raided, I wasn't there. But I saw like the white, like they had the same car, looked like a cop car, but without the lights, it would just be like, say it was a Crown Vic, you know, all white Crown Vic. I'm like, oh shit, what fucking white car in front of my house? Fucking, they go through all my shit, they go through my room and go through all my shit. And then I would like, I caught on, I started like, I pull out my dresser drawer maybe and put shit under the dresser drawer. And it was like, they were just looking for graffiti fucking paraphernalia. Like our house had a little lift to it. The house was elevated a little bit, so I was like, that's where I'd hide my paint and my fucking, all my graffiti shit.
When you do get home, what do your parents say about the raid? Do they confront you about
it? Oh yeah, they were pissed. Like, they were like telling me all kinds of shit. Like I was the first person in the family to fuck up and go to jail and fucking a big disappointment and all this shit, you know, and fucking I'm bringing the police to the house. Either they have every right to fucking be upset at me for that shit. But
ARBE, your parents are trying to talk you out of writing. You're going to jail. You're going to juvenile hall. Why do you continue to write? Why do you keep writing after getting busted several times, after your family's had enough of it?
The love.
What keeps you going?
The fucking love of it, I guess, the passion. Some like maybe an addiction back then, or you know, those were like, that's how I found my voice, you know, and how I was able to fit in with whatever crowds it was, you know. Like before it was the skaters. And a lot of like the skating and the tagging kind of went hand to hand, but you know, well, not everyone tagged. But
we usually hear graffiti and hip hop go together, but we also hear skateboarding and graffiti go together. Why is that? Do you know?
I don't know, man. I think I feel like hip hop and like because hip hop was new, so skating was also new, you know, and then like because like back, I don't know if they even say that shit now. No.
You're making waves in the streets. You have your name. You're gaining momentum. When are you going to write? Are you sneaking out of the house? Are you ditching school to go write? When are you finding time to go write?
Yeah, it was pretty much like on the week, anytime after school, you know, at night. The closest freeway to my house was kind of like, it was a little walk. So I would have to like walk a few miles just to get to the freeway, you know. And at that time, you go into like a Michael's or something, Chief Auto Parts, which is, what is it now? It's like it's something else now. But you know, you go in that store, go in those stores, like AutoZone and shit. But we go in there and rack paint. The paint didn't have they didn't have cages back then. So you just body rack whatever you can, but you would use those cans only for tagging. So you just like walk all this way just to go tag on the center dividers, you know. Like at that time, it was like that's what I wanted to do, was just tag on the freeway.
Do you ever get caught stealing paint?
I've never been caught stealing paint. I've been close. I have. One time we used to go to Home Depot, and I'd crack I had the bags, the plastic bags, go in there have them already in my pockets and shit, and then like get my paint, start fucking filling up the bags, and then I walk out. And one time they stopped me, like, hey, who? And I tried to lie to them. Oh yeah, this cash register over there fucking ringed me up and all this shit, you know. And then have me walk back to them and fucking they like ask them, and they're like, oh, this fool's lying. They're like, get the fuck out of the store. That's the only time I've been caught fucking stealing paint. So I didn't get arrested or anything. They just let us go.
Nice. After school, how long are you out tagging? Are you skateboarding everywhere and catching spots? What time are you coming home? How much damage are you doing?
I mean, back then it was like, in the daytime, it was like streaker tags, you know? Like a streaker, fucking... I would try to make my streakers last. You try not to like fucking press on them so hard. Where I grew up, we couldn't really do any tagging until it got dark. And then we had to watch out for like fucking gangsters and shit.
Are you going out tagging alone?
Yeah, I'll do a little bit alone, like, cause it was still like with the homies that were active in D2D. It was like we're always trying to outdo each other, you know, and like homies try to have the cleanest tags and shit. Like there was a few dudes in the crew that like had really good hands, and like I'm grateful for them because it was like they were stepping it up, you know, to fucking one style wise, like, cause we just had like a certain print, like we would call them prints, like just a basic fucking print style. The fat cap would be like the same width all the way through, or maybe like some flares, and you could be like nobody, like just starting graffiti. We was like, just get that print style down, and that's it, you know, that's all you have to worry about, you know. And then there's other homies that were like just had a little bit more flavor, and you know, break me off some letters or something, and I try to fucking, you know, fucking get my tags down, you know.
ARBE, you're definitely known for your beautiful burners and fills, but it looks like you also take pride in your tags. Would you credit this early mobbing to
that's what I was trying to get at, like
developing your tag? Because some people just tag everywhere, but they really don't put any thought into the style. But it seems like besides tagging everywhere, you were putting thought into your style.
I try to. Thank you, man. I feel like tagging is like if you could do a piece and you can't do a tag, I think there's something wrong. You know, I feel like it's just like, you know, what do they say? Like, you know, you gotta crawl before you walk, you know, and walk before you run. You know, it's like, I feel that's how graffiti should be. I feel like you should have the fundamentals down, you know, and you know, I'm not like the best with everything well-rounded, you know, like I don't, you don't see me doing many throw-ups and shit, but like I've been practicing them, you know, like I want to like start doing a little more throw-ups more, just to show that I can do throw-ups. But I feel like the era we came from, like no one was, like LA wasn't known for like doing throw-ups, like in the early, like late 90s, early 2000s. Some crews were doing throw-ups, that's all they did, but I feel like the crowd I was in was just trying to push each other style-wise, and to, you know, fucking everything had to be fucking trying to be original. Color scheme, someone would tell me you're biting my color scheme or some shit, you know, and I thought it was ridiculous, you know, but at the same time, if I can help mold me to fucking to where I'm at, I guess now, you know.
You have your name, ARBE. You're tagging everywhere. When do you begin to transition from tagging to doing your burners and fills? What happens to move you away from mobbing into artistry?
I guess a few different things happened. Like 96 is the year I want to say I started writing ARBE. Maybe it could have been 97. I feel like 96 though. And then there was like 92, 93, 94, 95. I was in juvie like all the summers. Like every summer I like got locked up for tagging. So something that kept me just tagging, you know. It's like, I don't know if it's just because I wanted to be still affiliated with my brothers from my crew, D2D or whatever, but whatever it was, I was just about it. And then like the whole like that tag banging shit we were talking about earlier, like we were like a bunch of white boys, not a bunch of white boys, it was like Hispanic homies too, like, and then the Samoan homies, but they were kind of like the big homies that had our back and shit, kind of like had left on. And I felt like other crews that would start tag banging thought they could fuck with us, you know, but it's like they couldn't. I feel like because we were like, it's about graffiti, and we kept doing the graffiti, you know, so it's like we were like down to battle anybody. And back then this was like tagging battles, you know, it was like just tagging all over the fucking freeway, like D2D, we had like the star battle, so it's like that's, you know, you have to do that star fucking, or the 3-dot battle, it's like all kinds of shit. But in 96 or 95 when I was in juvie, fucking I met this kid who wrote Brush, or he wrote or Creature, he went by Creature. That's the dude who like got me, like inspired me or pushed me maybe a little more, like, because he was so dope. Like he hit me up like when you're having like lunch or whatever, there's like condensation from the water. I started like tagging in it, and he's like, hey, you hit me up, you right? And this is like, you know, you're getting hit up in juvie by like the cholos and shit, and it was like tag bang era, so you kind of always kind of had to like like be badass, I guess, you know. So I was like kind of like a little attitude, you know, like yeah, I write Clee D2D, you know, like this was like all right, what's up, man? We should hang out sometime or whatever. And this is like juvenile camp, or we already like left juvenile hall, we're in a camp, and the next time I see him, he fucking busts out, like shows me, check out this paper, like this piece I'm working on. It's a brush piece. And that shit was sick as fuck. I was like, I didn't know anyone could flex like that. This is the shit I've been, you know, I see in the magazines or fucking, when I come to LA, I go to a yard and see fucking dope ass pieces. So I was like the first person I knew, like that I knew personally who could flex, you know?
See, when Creature shares his art with you, what goes through your mind? Do you start?
Yeah, I was like, this was dope. Yeah, I was like, damn, he's dope. And then we're in juvie, so like there's not that many white kids. So we were like shooting the shit, and like it was like a camp. So so say like one day this side of the camp, there's like three. They break it down in groups or whatever. But these three groups go to school, while these other groups go to work, and then vice versa. You know, so we had classes together. We just started fucking around, and then.
Are you practicing every day with Creature?
I was trying there, like, cause you know all you're doing in juvie is drawing, you know, and then I'd have like some you know, other kids be like, what's my lady's name or something on a letter and shit, you know, and then fucking I'd do shit like that.
How would your early sketches look? Do you remember?
Oh, they're probably garbage, you know, like I don't have any like old sketchbooks. I wish I did, but due to the fucking being on probation, they would like take my shit. I try to get hip to it. I started putting like my sketchbooks in the living room in the fucking on the bookshelf with the other photo albums and other shit like that. And that's how I started like being able to keep them. But I never really got down on my like I never had like a full blown sketchbook where it's just like pieces every page. It just like ended up being scribbles and shit, you know.
Do you still speak to Creature, or does he know how far you've brought ARBE?
Yeah, he knows. He knows, but I mean, yeah, he's giving me my props. He's like, it's weird how like I got involved with LTS because there's two people that he introduced me to. He's the first person to tell me about LTS. He's like, oh, this is my homie Taboo from LTS. I was like, I never heard LTS. He's like, you never heard LTS? Like, nah. They're like, oh, dope crew, you know, one of the dopest crews.
Do you remember around what year was this? This
was probably like 97, maybe 96. So I had met Taboo. Taboo's one of the OG LTS heads from that area, Orange County. And you know about Exile, the DJ?
No.
You know like Blue and Exile? No? He's pretty famous, pretty in underground DJ and producer. Fucking anyhow, he was from KOG, and fucking Exile and Taboo was from LTS. And I met these dudes way before getting in LTS or KOG, but none of it like registered. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know like anything else about KOG or LTS.
Sure. As you're practicing on your nights off from work in juvenile hall, when do you start to get better or notice an improvement in your sketches to finally have confidence to paint a wall?
That's a trip. So that dude Creature was he was like not an orphan, but he was in group homes and shit, you know, like he was a bad kid, so I guess his fucking parents couldn't fucking handle him or whatever. So when we met in juvie, he's telling me he's gonna run. Like we exchanged numbers and shit, and I was like doing 3 months or something, and I did my what is that, 60 days, 90 days? I did my 90 days. I get out. Fucking a month or two later, this fool calls me. He's like, yeah, he ran. He like ran from the camp, and he was on the run. And I was like, dude, I'd like sneak him in the window so he could like sleep and shit at the house, and like whatever canned food I could get him, so fucking cans of raviolis or some shit so he could eat. But he was like always racking. But like I didn't have it like my parents weren't like that cool with me like just having my friends over and do whatever the fuck I want. So like if he like was racking steaks and shit, like we're not gonna cook them at my house. There's these kids that live behind me who had like their parents gave like the parents just stayed in their room and like half the house, the other half was their sons. And this is like these kids did whatever the fuck he wanted, you know. It was like fucking eating acid, whatever, you know. So Creature ended up hanging out with them, basically living with them. So he was like became my neighbor, and he was on the run for like forever. He was like for like years. And maybe that's why he wasn't trying to paint so much, you know. But I don't know, because he would do other kind of off the wall shit. But you know, he just kept me like, he gave me an alphabet to answer your question. He'd like one day he like A through Z in my sketchbook, and it was like all the letters were just like, he would tell me make sure they're symmetrical, the same like, you know, line weight or whatever, the same width throughout. And that was like the formula I fucking took off with. Like those letters he gave me in the alphabet. I took the A, I took that R, took the B, and I took the Y, and I made that shit mine.
How often do you practice those letters?
Like any chance I could get, you know. I started maybe 97, 96. Could have been the same year. I moved in with this chick that my girlfriend at the time. Her parents took me in because I was kind of like home. I would have been homeless if it wasn't for friends, you know. I was like couch surfing and shit. And there was a train yard over there, and I didn't know about painting trains really, but I would see Tyke in there and fucking Just 195. And I would see their fucking tags in there. Oh, I got it. Yeah. Yeah, I would see their shit. I would see their fucking their tags, like they maybe a couple tags on a pole, or I just happened to catch the fucking a train they just painted, but I still didn't know like the ropes of the train yard. You know, like I would go in there way before then, we would just catch tags on them. Like we're just walking through, like we would walk through the train tracks just like for shortcuts and shit, you know? Like tagging, for me, tagging was just like freeways and the streets, you know? And then when I found out, when I started writing ARBE, and I was like, oh, I can go paint trains and like chill and like fucking not be in a yard. Like, cause like painting yards was cool, but then they get gone over, like, you know, the yards like under bridges and shit, and there wasn't that many in Orange County.
Is it in the train yard when you bust your first burner? Where do you finally put what you've been practicing on paper to the wall?
Oh, when I was talking about the ex-girlfriend, living with the ex-girlfriend and their family, I would I ended up getting like a tarp too. I had like a tarp, and then fucking hang it up in the backyard, and I'd fucking paint on that shit. And from doing that, and like I wasn't doing that all the time, but when I could, I would. I probably like, I don't remember ever like having a tarp where I like, oh, buff it and do another one. I probably like did it, and I actually like liked it, or I like try to keep it or something, and then try to do another one. And then I was like 97, had to been like 97. I ended up getting a job at Michael's, and then that's where I fucking started fucking bringing, like, just stocking up my paint. Because I worked there, so I was fucking inside job. I would just fucking rack paint. Would you credit your improvement
with fills and burners by sketching on a paper or practicing on that tarp and the walls?
I felt from practicing, from actually painting.
From actually painting.
Yeah, and like I was telling you, like so Creature, and then like there's these yards in South Orange County that I would have to take a bus. It would probably take me like two hours or some shit to get down there. But it seemed like they had a little bit more yards over there, like, you know, under the fucking street type of tunnels and shit that were popping. And they had like I guess I want to say like better riders. I don't know. Like they're just more like Santa Ana was just like fucking the tag bang shit and tagging. You know what I mean? There's very few people that were doing shit on the street, like bombing. So it was hard to get any like there was no really like influence, but there was some like NASA crew was like one of the first crews I remember as with seeing pieces and shit, and like how there's a LA River, there's a Santa Ana River too, but they call it the Santa Ana Riverbed. And back then every like you're on First Street, like First Street goes over it, right? So you can go on, and there's a bike trail, so you go down there, and then there's like the four walls or whatever holding up the street. Those were back then, they were fucking pieced up. But I was so young, I don't remember like I was just amazed with so much shit on the wall. Like I didn't really there was no certain pieces that like stood out to me. But I just remember there's this cat down the street from me who wrote Fana. And Fana, he also would get up with F-O. It was like Fana 1. I was like, I didn't put two and two together at first. I was like, oh, fool, that shit's sick. Because like the way he would bring the F from the bottom up, and then do the top line, and then the fucking connect to the O, and then he'd fucking hit the line for the F with a little like exclamation mark or something. I would see that shit everywhere. And then I met him on the fucking street. Like I was like sitting at the bus, like waiting for at a bus stop, waiting for traffic. Maybe I was catching scribes or something. But he seen me and he came up to me. And then he just took me. He was an older cat, and he took me under, like, yo man, you should come to my crib or whatever. And I go to his crib and see like this fool had like the fucking ghetto blaster with pieced up and fucking the fat shoelaces and shit. And like, where'd you get those fucking Pumas? You know, like this is when you couldn't get the shell toe Adidas anymore. You had to like hunt for those shits, you know. And he kind of put me on game with that shit. And he was from a crew, like an OG crew from like Santa Ana, was SATK, Santa Ana Tagging Crew. That's what it stood for. It was like, or Strictly Addicted to Krylon. And my OG homie Shoot that I was telling you about, that passed away, he happened to be down with that shit too, like way back. And they were the older heads, you know. They were like for Orange County, they were like they were with like the Whisks and the Risks and the fucking, you know, the you know what I mean, the old school heads.
ARBE, you're practicing your burners on walls now. You have your name, it's solid. Besides your beautiful, intricate designs, you're also known for your color fills. Were you doing interesting color fills back then as you came up, and where do you get your color schemes from?
I mean, I was just grabbing paint, and like, yeah, I feel like back then I did do more like more intricate shit, like into the fills, you know, and I feel like I don't do that much. I don't do it that much anymore. I watch, like I see like White Versus paints, like he kind of does that, like where he'll flex the fills. Now I feel I don't know, dude. Maybe I've simpled it down a little bit more, you know, like I kind of like to keep it like I like the letters to fucking do all the fucking the talking and the showing and shit, and instead of like a bunch of colors or like bevels or whatever, you know, fucking there's a lot of technique I see people doing that is dope, like especially that you know, edging the fucking holding the Canada edge and fucking edging the letters and starting to make it like look a little more 3D or like you know, coming off the wall, which is dope. But then I see like the trend of like everyone does it, you know, like a lot of cats are doing it. So I don't know if I just try to stay away from fucking doing that shit, even though like I was like I should fucking also participate, and just so I have the know-how, like I can do that too, you know what I mean? Like getting into fucking KOG was dope because like it was shit that at the time no one else was doing in graffiti, and it was new to me. Like oh, everyone was rocking with stock tips, for instance, you know, and it's like fucking stock, that shit's dope, you know what I mean? And then like I started painting trains, and like I would have troubles because I'm using a fat cap or a tester or some shit, and like when you hit the fucking ridge in the train or whatever, the fucking handles for the doors, it's like you get that flare right there, and that would like bug the shit out of me, you know, like fuck. And then the homies would be like, oh, do it with stock, you know, do that shit with a stock tip, and then like you don't get that shit because you got that stock line all the way through, and that should help me fucking get like can control down, I guess, you know.
ARBE, now you have your name again. It's solid. You're bombing. You're making a name for yourself. You're meeting other writers. Then in 1998, we start seeing ARBE KOG on the streets. Can you tell us, how do you join KOG? One of the most influential crews in Los Angeles.
And you're on point with that because like that's the year I got in KOG, 98. So yeah, I was writing ARBE, like the solo, just like R and a B, like, and I met up with
ARBE, I'm sorry to cut you off. First,
good.
Had you heard about KOG before joining them? And what had you heard of them?
Well, at this time, I started painting with this dude, Sower. And he later on changed his name to Isaac LTS, who was trying to get a hold of me, actually, just through, like, you know, through the community, the graffiti community in Orange County. There's this dude who wrote Eli from KOG. And I would go to the yards and see their shit. I remember seeing Eli, KOG, Kings of Graff. Like, oh, that shit's dope, you know? And then, like, he wrote a little saying, like, fuck with the best, find a slug in your chest. And I was like, Kings of Graff, like, that shit's tight. I didn't know it had anything to do with LTS or anything. But he was also from this crew called TGB. And they ended up buying. I don't know if it was him or someone he knew, but they would end up buying weed from one of my homies, my homie Trio. And then they were like, who I lost contact with. But anyways, they were like, oh, you know, fucking ARBE, like the homie Sower wants to paint with this fool. Like, so they put us in touch. And then like when I met Sower, like he's like, well, I didn't even have a cell phone back then. He was like, hey, fucking meet me at Circle K or some shit at this time. I'm all walking to Circle K with the homie, and I'm like, on the ground was a napkin, and it said like LTS or like Isaac on the napkin. And I just look up, and then there's this dude in his car, and it was this fool Isaac, Sower, and he changed his name. He changed his names a lot of times, but when we met, he was like, oh, you're fucking Zilch from D2D. He's like, I used to jock your tags. He's like, I used to write roll DH. And DH was like I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was a little like click or spawn off of fucking SSK. And there's another crew back. They're still around, but they're like gangs now. But this other crew called CKA. I think like they were like brothers or cousins of one another. The CKAs and the DHs. And the DHs, when they came, they were newer. They were like new. They weren't as old as D2D. They were newer than NSSK, but they're an Anaheim crew. When they fucking hit Anaheim, they hit it hard. Like this was just tagging, and it was like DHF. Was like, do you remember like back in the days, everyone would like crews would write a K at the end?
Yes.
So it was like, you know, it would write like LTSK, or like it was like D2DK, like Kings, or like Kills was a thing. I remember it always be D2D Kills. So the shit, what was I saying about the fucking K? Oh yeah, DH. They started writing F. They would write DHF or DH for family, but then it was like destroying Highway 5. So I always thought that shit was dope, you know. And that's when like the level I feel like was getting where you could see where it's changing. We had to start stepping it up a little bit, you know. Like, and this was just with tagging, you know. And LSD was another crew too, like Extend and Misk. Fucking, I would see fucking Visor too. Who's the homie? Just they're at that time, fuck, a lot of the people were from there. Exist, from the Shapeshifters. They were fucking all the LSD crew, which was you know, I think like Whittier, North Orange County, Fullerton area. So they were just like bringing something new to the table for me from where like what I was seeing. Oh yeah, Sower wants to meet me, so fucking I meet up with him, and then this fool, I just remember he's like, let's go paint right away. He opened up his fucking trunk. I'll never forget, like the trunk wouldn't stay up. This fool had a 2x4. Oh, fucking spray paint, dude. Like, even the back seat, spray paint. There's, like, no room for no passengers. Just a shitload of spray paint. And then he was, like, on it, dude. This fool would be, like, every other day, hey, what's up, bro? You want to go paint? To where, like, it was almost, like, bugging me. Like, nah, dude, I can't go paint right now, you know? Like, why not, dog? He was, like, pressing me to go paint and shit. And then, like, he kind of had, like, the competitive fucking attitude with it, which I learned later on. It came from him getting down with LTS probably, because like when I fucking started meeting more heads from LTS or from KOG too, like I seen how it was like a competition, but a friendly competition, you know. And it's like it was like some shit talking, but you just don't take it the wrong way. But he was like, when I mentioned earlier, it's like he's the one who told me, oh, you biting out my color scheme. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, fucking, so I can't outline with black and fill in with blue? You know, that's your shit? You know what I mean? It was like, you fucking making up all kinds of shit to just be like, you know, let me know that I'm fucking under you type of shit. You know what I mean? I got some shit to work for. And at the time, too, it was like, and then when he told me he used to jock my tags, I always felt like, I was probably even a little older than him. I was like, I feel like I should have a one-up on him, but in reality, it was like, I saw the younger cats sort of like in sicker, you know, or better, and that says a lot for being a writer from OC and writers from LA. Because when I started coming to LA more, because I was coming to LA already and shit, but when I got into KOG, now I had like homies, people to come to hang out with instead of just coming to the city and fucking around. I had like a place to go to and chill and stay for a couple of days or whatever, and fucking I was just soaking it all in, but I was like, damn, like a lot of these cats are fucking like little, like they're better because they fucking, there's a better the scene's different over here too. There's more like competition. There's way more riders. So it's like you got the 16-year-old kid who's fucking flexing pieces, and then in Orange County you got the 16-year-old kid fucking could barely tag. You know what I mean? It's like they've been doing graffiti just as long and shit. Okay, so I started painting with Sower a lot. Like he's always hitting me up to paint, and I'm actually looking up to his shit too because he was like doing like dope shit. There's like that, like I said, in Orange County, there's not that much dope shit, you know. So when someone's bombing and hitting, and in Orange County too, it's like not like here where you have to put in a lot of work to be noticed. You get noticed kind of quick over there, you know. So his shit was popping off. It was standing out, and like he was standing out before when he was writing GI, and that shit was just like, if I could show you the style, was just like pretty basic, you know, like some quick, simple, straight letter shit, you know. And like, and I fucking took it. I took it in. Like when I got in KOG, like I was honored. It was dope too because like for me, I wasn't like when you asked me about if I was looking for a crew, what my what my objective was about getting in a crew. Like I was just writing ARBE and having fun, and they came to me. I wasn't looking for a crew. So they were asking me to get in, and at the time KOG wasn't like where it's at now. You know, it was like it's already established. You know, it's like been around since like mid '80s and shit. But it was like always like this LTS under LTS's. It was like LTS's shadow, and it was like the dudes that weren't dope enough like to be LTS were in KOG, and it was a stepping stone. Where like, you know, like Air was KOG at first, J-Rock. Once they got an LTS, they kind of stopped writing KOG. And others didn't, you know, that like, which was dope, being new to the crew and seeing Sinner and Retina when they were like the fucking dynamic duo and painting together all the time. Like that era was, to me, was the dopest shit. Like their pieces were fucking dope as fuck, you know, and they were like, they would hit up KOG, excuse me. So it was like, it would like kind of make me wonder, like, well, why the fuck does like this would not write KOG anymore? You know, it's like you leveled up and you just fucking, you're not KOG no more. So there was this, you could tell there was this like a wall, or like a barrier, where there's this line where you can tell like, all right, this is the KOG fucking part of things, and this is the LTS shit, like where you're fucking, you know.
How does SOAR mention the possibility of you joining the crew?
So it was awkward for me because he was like, he'd be on the phone, like, "What's up, dog?" He's like, "Yeah, I talked to fucking Sinner and Retina about you and shit. Like I don't know about you. Tell me you're killing shit. Like you should get on KOG." And I would turn it down because I was like, "Nah, dog. Like I'm not gonna get on over the phone. Like who's KOG? Like I just know Eli. I know you. Like I know it's Exile. I want to know KOG. Like I'm not gonna just get in the crew and shit, you know." And yeah, he would like bring me around and shit. He started like bringing me around and like take me to Broadway back then when Broadway was fucking crushed. Like fucking all the fucking windows were fucking grilled. I had never seen that shit. I was like, what the fuck? Like that shit's. And then
what names do you see up?
Dude, back then it was the old REMs. Damn. And what was that other crew? VCKs. Like and Alloy was VCK. I remember. Fume VCK, but what stood out to me, Zest was on there, Retina was on there. He wrote Scab at the time. Air had several of them. There's I want to say Gas. So, you know, I can't remember. You know, everything, but I remember what stood out to me. You know what I mean? Like fucking. And like no one was doing it like the KOG, LTS KOG. Like sometimes I want to say fucking, if I say one KOG or LTS, to me it's the same shit, unless there was someone who never wrote it. But
how would you describe the KOG LTS style back in those days for someone who wasn't around?
I mean, to me, like I feel it was the shit. I feel like it stood out on its own. It was its own shit, and I feel like. They either fucking, a lot of other crews in LA either fucking respected it or they hated it, you know. But at that time, you knew like that was an LTS or KOG style, you know. Like you would know. Like you wouldn't see anyone from fucking like another crew doing that style. And I feel like that changed somewhere along the line.
KOG is pursuing you to get in. SOAR is making phone calls mentioning your name, but you're rejecting it. You don't want to get in through a phone call. Yeah. What happens when you finally get in?
So
what is the linchpin?
So I go to at that time it's like, you know, no fucking social media. So I always have like a photo album with me. I was racking disposable cameras, so I was always taking pictures of my shit. And there was it was a day function, like this hip hop thing in Fullerton. And Exile who was KOG, DJ Exile, was gonna be there. In fact, I already knew him, so I was like, I went for that, I guess. I went to go I was into hip hop and shit, so I went to this shit, and then I went to go do like a beer run real quick, and I had like my photo album and I think my sketchbook, and I left it with the other Eli from KOG was there too, so I left it with them. And there's this other crew called NC that was some down South Orange County more. I was cool with those kids. I think that's who I rolled up with, but I gave like, cause I got in KOG living in Orange County, I didn't paint with like. I was in Orange County, so I wasn't really painting with that many KOGs, like with the crew, because I didn't have a car or whatever, so I was always out there doing shit, which was good for me at the time too, because like I think that's what like they wanted. I feel like, you know, that's why I got recruited, because we're out there trying to branch out, you know. But I want to go do a beer run, so I leave my photo album and fucking go get beer and come back. I'm like, yo, where's my shit at? That dude Redna has it. Like they had showed up, so like the LTS had showed up, and fucking he was looking through my book. I was like, oh shit, cool. And so it was like, I was like, oh shit, that's the night I got in. And I remember fucking so there was a little funk with BTP, which was like this Posh from CBS's crew, and so I guess it was a branch off CBS. But it was over some train beef, some train yard shit that I had nothing to do with. I wasn't in the crew yet. But those guys thought they could like come at me like sideways, and they told me. I remember like word for word, he was like, any issues we have with LTS or any of those boys, like fucking, we're gonna come at you because you're KOG. Because they were like all in LA, you know what I mean? So these are like, they're gonna come at me with the bullshit, and I was like, that's whack, you know what I mean? Like fucking. Like it's like you don't have anything personal against me, but they were making some shit personal, you know, and they were just all like heated, and they started fucking getting kind of loud and shit with Retna over some shit that happened with Reyes. And at the time he wrote a door, and Retna was like, yo man, he's all that fool ain't even here to speak for himself, but he's all I'll be a door though. I'm a door. And I just remember like the way he handled it, because these guys were like, when Drugs, rest in peace, like Drugs gets here, fucking it's on, they just kept saying all this shit and fucking just all angry and shit. And the LTS, like there was probably like 7-8 dudes from LTS, just all calm. But Retna being the one that they're like that's talking with them, like sorting the shit out. And I just remember this fool the whole time with his hands like just like this and calm, while they're all angry and shit. And then fucking before you know it, they were just like, all right, they like shook hands and shit, and like the way I saw him fucking defuse that shit was like, dude, I'm down to fucking rep with this shit, you know.
You come back from making your beer run.
Yeah.
The LTS have your album.
Yeah, my photo album. Yep.
Retna's showing leadership. Does he come up to you and personally invite you into the crew, or how does that take place? Do they take a vote?
I think fucking maybe Soar was there or Eli, and was like, yo, this is the homie ARBE, blah, 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 like introduced us. And then like, I probably just brought it up, like, yo, man, they were trying to put me on, and like, I ain't trying to diss or anything, but I just was waiting to meet everybody. Like I that's how I like, I wouldn't want to get into the crew with like over a phone call, like not knowing anybody and shit, you know what I mean? Even the way I got in still wasn't at a meeting. And when I got in, I'm pretty sure like the majority of the crew that I haven't met yet were probably like, who the fuck's this dude? You know what I mean? Like, who's this cat? But I was painting. I was just like, you know, I'm here to paint.
Had you ever heard of Retna before meeting him? And what had you heard of him?
Oh, well, I knew about him just like I knew Moses. Like, I was familiar with their pieces from the Graff mags. Like, what was that one that Tim had? What? Shit, I can't think of it right now. One of those Graff mags. Anyways, you know what? Shit, dude, fucking slipped my mind. It'll come to me later. But anyways, there's this Graff magazine that fucking was LA based. Oh, Big Time. It's called Big Time magazine. I don't know if you guys know about that shit, but there wasn't like, yeah, there was like only like, I don't know, dude, less than 10 issues, you know, but every issue was sick because it was like fucking LA, you know. It's like that cover with Tribe on the fucking front. You know, fucking. Then there was that they did the spread with when Air and fucking Skate had passed. Yeah, this shit was dope, dude. And fucking, I feel like they were LTS like Sinner and fucking Retna were like at the forefront too, like of the fucking the graffiti game. I think here in LA,
ARBE, growing up in LA, I remember seeing ARBE or Retina on the side of almost every liquor store in Los Angeles back in the day. Would you agree with that statement?
I would definitely say Retina more than me. If it was me, like I got invited to paint, like they like let me paint and shit, and but they influenced me or like I saw what he was doing as far as getting walls, like getting legal walls, and I was like, fuck, I want to do that shit too, and I started.
How would you get so many legal walls, ARBE? Because you still have landmarks all over Los Angeles, maybe 20-year-old burners, pieces up on these liquor stores, mechanic shops, everywhere.
I would just go in there like for my main thing was if there was a graffiti on the wall, that would be the open door for me to go talk to them. If it wasn't just random wall, like, oh, I just want that wall, like I didn't have it like that, like that's Retina would have some high, like I don't know, like walls on some like high-end restaurant and shit, like, but his pieces fucking were like ornate and like fucking like kind of was sick. Like I think he already had like that the name that or the style that was like intriguing to fucking people that don't know shit about graffiti. But like, and I remember that dude where like he was in slacks and dressed nice and shit, so that when he go hustle the wall, he wouldn't be like fucking paint on your clothes and shit. He'd be like dressed nice and shit. And I was like, that's fucking how he's getting it right there, like, and he'd fucking bilingual too helps, I feel like I got a little like love. I got lucky in K-Town area, with like that's where like a lot of my walls would be at. And sometimes the walls might not even be mine. Maybe I just got invited to paint the walls, Do
you know where in LA is your longest running wall currently?
Yeah, the wall I have on Western and Second, in Koreatown. I hustled that wall in 2004.
Wow.
And the piece that's on it now currently, which I've been meaning to do, at least like last year and this year. Last year I was like, I gotta get on it because I knew the 10-year mark was coming up. That's another thing Retina schooled me up on was like, why fucking not to redo your fucking wall. You let that shit run and go get a new wall. Like, why keep painting the fucking same wall? Like, just like go get a new wall. And that's how. And they would paint fast. It's like, what are you gonna do tomorrow? I was like, oh, you're gonna come and finish my piece. I'll get my piece. You can get this piece done in one day and go do another piece, get another wall. And I would try to like try to get on that level, But I was still like working on my letter structure and my style. I still didn't really find myself yet to like be that quick. You know what I mean? But and also maybe overthinking shit and overworking the piece when it's done. But I would always go back and do more.
Can you share what kind of person Retina is? He's a LA legend. We've never spoken to him, but you hear his name everywhere. Can you please share with us what type of person is he? Did you ever go riding with him? Did he ever share any tips?
I'll go riding with him. He's mainly him and Sinner put me on, but it's mostly through Retina. I feel to answer the question, he was just I feel like I don't know if he saw something in me because like my shit was whack at the time. I was doing like those letters I was telling you that Creature gave me. I was doing the symmetrical fucking letters and like more like, I don't know, b-boy graffiti or some shit. You know what I mean? Like not like I didn't get skinny and have fat just like portions in my letters or whatever, or they didn't bend a certain way, like, and or have this technique, like dirty technique. I was still trying to I was just doing the formula, the basics. You do your sketch, your fucking fill, then you outline it, whatever, or do your backgrounds and you start outlining it. I was painting like that, and then I was seeing these dudes doing the fucking outlines first. Now all the fucking black, all the 3D like in there, or all that shit's done, or like that's what's on the wall, and then filling in with buff or spray, but like it was like the buff that was like inspiring and like jaw dropping. You know, like, oh shit, like I see other cats use buff before, but like Sora would use buff, but he would like make it look like it was like spray. Like you couldn't tell it was buff. Like there's no drips in it. And he was like, well, he got like sick ass, like it looked like jungle green. He's like, oh yeah, you don't even know where to get jungle green. He would tell me like, I got the hookup on the jungle greens, but it was fucking buff. You know.
When you say buff, you're talking about roller paint.
Roller paint, yeah, house paint. Yeah, so like I was like, oh shit, like just seeing like it was all backwards. Like if you look at the old retina, the old center pieces like Braille, you could see like J-Rock, you just see like the fill-in is coming up, is popping off, and the fucking outline is behind. You know, it has a certain look, you know.
Definitely. Now, you join KOG, just a crew full of all-stars, full of legends, no doubt. One of them being the legendary Ayer. Do you ever meet him or come across him? And what was that first interaction like, if you remember?
You know, yeah, I met him. I got in KOG in September of 1998, and that's the same month he passed, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was. I met him, and I was probably in the crew for a week, 2 weeks at the most, three at the most, and then he had passed away, like shortly after I got in. I want to say that I did meet him once at a Sinner's Pad. Sinner used to have these sessions like at his house, like in his back house he had like a studio, and like it was like during the week, like a Wednesday or some shit, like come through and fucking just bring your sketchbook, and it was like he had a sign making company, so they had a big ass table in the middle, and everyone was just sitting around there. I'll never forget because I came with a fucking shitload of beer. Because the train yard I would paint at was a Coors layup. They would fill up the trains with beer right there, like the Coors, it was not just Coors. It was just the Coors was the main factory, but there was all kinds of beer. I remember it was Newcastle. I brought like all these cases and shit, and then at the end of the night, they didn't tell me in front of everybody or anything. It was just like, hey yo, like next time fucking leave the beer at home. Like it's just fucking like just sketch and just smoke weed and fucking sketch. I was like, and to me I thought that was dope because they just were, you know, wanted everyone on a fucking. Don't get too high, you know. Don't get too fucking drunk, you know. Alcohol affects everyone different. I kind of felt like an ass at the time, you know. Like, oh shit. But then at the same time, I thought that shit was dope.
You're now in KOG. You're still bombing Creatures Letters. But when do you discover your own style? After joining KOG, what takes you to that other level?
That's a good question. I feel like it took a while for me to be like maybe like confident or comfortable with my style. It took some years, but maybe a big part of that could have been my insecurities. But like when I got into KOG, this is something that was told to me that I'll never forget and that I remember, and I took that with, and I that's what I did. Like that's what I try to do and make and to develop my style. And that was Brandon was telling me that he's like, you in the crew now, you know. He's like, so like when you in the crew, it's like we're all gonna go eat at a table. We're all gonna go out to eat, all you can eat fucking buffet, you know. Like over here you got your hamburgers and shit. Over here you got your authentic Mexican food. Over here you got Chinese food or whatever. But it's gonna be the homies fucking style. It's like that's fucking J-Rock's over here. This is fucking Ayer. He's fucking Sinner, Retina, Braille. He's all, so you can go grab a little bit of all that shit and fucking grab yourself a plate, you know, and then like, but add your own little flavor to it too, because you can't come to the table empty-handed. So like that's what I did. I started like gravitating towards fucking whoever shit like I liked, you know, or like influenced by, and like a lot of it, like at that time it was Retina, it was fucking Ayer, Taboo. I feel like Braille. Those are like probably like cats that I was like a Sinner, you know, but like there was. To a point where I knew I can't touch that shit. Like I'm not like the level of they're way ahead of me, you know, steps ahead of me, you know. But then at that same time, there was clean. Like the way he was bombing, it was just more like a bombing style, but like the straight letter, like and that shit was fucking just as fresh. But you know, they're getting down on the fucking the fillings and the color schemes, and like I just fucking soaked it all in, and
You join one of the most influential crews in Los Angeles, KOG, plenty of style. an all-star lineup. Once you're in, do you feel pressure to raise your level, your skills?
Oh yeah, dude, I did. I felt like it was the weirdest thing because like when I coming from Orange County, I never felt like anything like that. Like I knew who was like who did more work than me or whatever. But when I got into KOG and being like this new guy, I felt like it wasn't like when I got in, everyone was like, "Oh, welcome, bro." Like fucking, I didn't get a lot of fucking pats on the back and shit. It was almost like I had to like prove myself just to like for so and so to fucking recognize me or whatever, you know. And then I came from like, I'm not gonna like you know, my Orange County days, like D2D days with that whole tag bang and all that shit. I was like, well, I'm not gonna kiss no one's ass or jock anybody. So if they don't fucking come at me with the mutual like, hey, what's up, bro? Like like if I have to try hard to like get you to fucking talk to me or go paint with me, whether we're in a crew or not in the same crew, that's too much work for me, bro. Like if it doesn't happen natural, then it's fucking not. It's not meant to be, dude. And I feel like I had to like do a little extra to like get noticed or get some props or whatever, but that at the same time I didn't care, you know what I mean? So it's like it's you get into a club or a fucking, what is it, like a, you know, if you're in the fucking chess club or the fucking some seniority or a fraternity or some shit, you like, and there's 50 people in there, you can't fucking be best friends with everybody, you know what I mean? But I feel like the energy though of fucking what everyone's in this to do, like, is what's like really strong and powerful, you know.
ARBE, another interesting fact. It seems like at first you were painting ARBE with a Y at the end, and then you transition with the E.
Yep.
Why do you make that change?
I just made the change because I like maybe the aesthetics of it, like, is probably like the reason why. But also for me was just to flip it, just to like, I got bored of the Y. The Y was like, at the time I was doing the Y, I liked the Y was hard, so but I kept at it because I was like, the Y is hard, I'm gonna keep doing it. And then I just felt like, but I couldn't. I don't know. It couldn't like. I'm sure I could think of it. I could do it now maybe, but it just like, I just kind of did the straight Y, you know, with the fucking triangle top, and then there was like not much you can do with it. I feel like, and the E I was able to like whip it out more, and it just to me it just fucking made more sense, you know. It just fucking made it more solid, and then when I did that, it like I started to like the name like more. Like if I was starting to have like second thoughts of the name, you know, like not really feeling it and shit. I've always was thinking of new names all the time. I always think of names. I still do. Like, oh, fucking, that'd be a dope name, you know. But I'm not gonna write it. I wish I could like give it to somebody or something, you know. So I would try to fuck around with some other names, but I couldn't like dive into it like 100 because I was like, what about all these ARBEs I've been doing, you know? Like I want to fucking get the credit, I guess, for it, you know.
Now, ARBE, after joining KOG and representing the crew for a few years, you then join the other legendary crew, LTS. Can you tell us how that comes about and how you're welcome to join that crew?
Oh, shit, dude, I remember that day too. I think we were going to go see Freestyle Fellowship at the El Rey Theater, and fucking, it was me, Dame, and Retina. I think maybe Rusty was there. There might have been a couple other dudes, but we're in line, and I remember fucking, we snuck in. I don't know if we just hopped over the ropes and got in and shit, but Retina just like, we're just chilling inside there. He's like, you LTS? Like, put me on LTS, and I was like, nah, like I was happy, like I wanted to be an LTS, but I knew my style wasn't there, you know what I mean? And then it was the same thing with the meeting shit. I was like, yeah, what about fucking everyone else? Like, what do they think? What are their opinions about like me getting in? You know, like there was never like a meeting where like, oh, ARBE's in LTS now. But and then Retina went to New York right away. Like the next day, he went to New York for like 2 weeks. So it's like, you can put me in LTS and then you just bounce. Like Noah, like they could just be like, who fucking gave ARBE permission, or you know what I mean? So like I even was like hesitant on hitting it up, and I remember painting a wall fucking in, I think it was like East Los, and it was this like a laundromat. But the fucking back of the wall was actually like in these people's house, like the driveway, you know. So we were in the driveway painting, and I remember him, who's Thor's brother. He was like, "Yo, man, like hit that shit up, hit it up," you know. And I remember, and it was me, J Rock, him, and like Sinner, and yeah, dude, I just like fucking hit it up, and then I didn't want to seem like I was fucking faking the funk or whatever, or just trying to fucking be on some bandwagon shit. And I just was like, that was another like thing to like get me out there to push a little more, you know. And I was probably still like living in, I might have been in Orange County still, so I was just trying to always come to LA. Like at the time, the 10 was always fucking crushed. Like from the 5, you get on the 5 to the 10, like going towards Santa Monica, all that area was always fucking crushed. And I was just always trying to like get on the 10 or fucking paint on Washington and like get a rooftop or something. Just let people know that I'm here, you know.
As you mentioned before, KOG and LTS are basically the same crew, but LTS is known as a little bit as the bigger brother. What did it mean to you when they finally asked you to join and represent the LTS crew?
I mean, I felt like any goals I had for like graffiti, like that was like, I felt like, man, like, oh, this is it, at the top of the food chain. But I feel like I still had to like, there's a lot of work I still needed to put in, like the dues weren't paid. Like I'm not an LA writer, so I don't feel like, I mean, I am now, but I feel like at the time, who the fuck is this, you know? So I just wanted to like fucking push it, and I was honored to push it, you know. And then living in Orange County was different. Anything I did over there, like I would get like a lot of like I guess, you know, props or the credit for it, and like because there was like, but it was easy because there's not that many people fucking doing shit. And I remember I don't know what year that was, but it was like, I guess 98ish, 99. They were doing construction on the 5 freeway over there. Like the 5 used to kind of be, I want to say it was elevated. It was like it ran along with the street. Like if there's Anaheim Boulevard and the 5 freeway is like right there, and there's just nothing but a fence blocking it before they built all these fucking sound walls. So there was like, during the construction, there was all these, because they leveled, they either like leveled they either brought the freeway down or whatever, but they had like fucking leveled it to fucking match the street or whatever. Anyways, so they had to redo the bridges and all the overpasses, and in the center they were widening the freeway, so there's always fucking some shit to paint. So it was like fortunate because it was like made it easy to go bomb. There was like, we would hit the cranes and the fucking cranes would run, or you know, the dumpsters in the middle of the freeway, center dividers and shit would run, and that was paying a lot with that dude's sword, getting those spots. So it was like cool because I didn't have a car, and I was just able to like go out and fucking paint, like, and to get credit for it because a lot of the homies would come from LA, like to go, they come to Orange County to rack. So like they would see like my shit, like the LTS homie J Rock, and then would be like, what's up, man? We saw your shit up on the 5. So that was like always cool because I'd come up here on the weekend or some shit, and you know, get like that feel good to like hear them say that they see my shit, you know.
ARBE, you're in KOG now. Your skills are improving. You joined the best crew in LA at the time, LTS. You're at the top of the food chain. But something happens in KOG. There's a KOG versus KOG battle.
Oh shit, you know about that? Hell yeah.
Can you please tell us about that? Why is there a battle?
So was just us at a meeting fucking wanting to hype the crew to get up. It was like, let's get up. Let's like fucking put names in a hat, and fucking this hat's KOG's and this KOG. And we just battled each other for funds to get up. And it was like just to fucking push us to get up. And then we ended up doing that like consecutive back to back. We did that like 2 or 3 times, switched the teams up and shit, and fucking we might have even told people like, if you don't fucking, you're gonna get the boot if you don't participate, you know. It's like we kind of started like there was like, you know, like I got the fucking the keys supposedly, but this is when I was like, I'm gonna try to start using them a little bit, you know. But it was getting that shit. It was good and not good for me because like a lot of people people hating and shit, you know. Like I feel like were salty about that and shit. But
what KOG team were you on? Who was on your team?
I was the KOG's, the first one. And
who were the other riders on your side?
My team was shit. I think the team was bigger than what it was, but you know, there's like, say there was 15 to the team, but there was only really 5 of us doing it, and it was fucking. The first time it was me, Fish, Dry. Shit, who else was it? I think Korea. Well, he was living in San Francisco at the time. And shit, dude, that's a good question. Who else was on it? I think maybe Exile was on it, our team. Maybe Versus was on our team too. I feel like the first time we did that was just the way it worked out, because we just drew names out of a hat. Was actually the homies that if there's a little inner circle. It was just like that was like the people I was already like hella cool with and shit.
Is one team hitting up KOG and a symbol to differentiate themselves?
Yeah, no, it was just like it was KOG, and then it was KOG with the apostrophe S. And that's how. So yeah, you have to write the fucking the fucking. If you're on KOGs, you gotta add the S.
I understand it was a friendly competition, but is there a winning side announced at the end?
Yeah, well, the KOGs won the first one. We had the fucking. I don't know if you know, but on the 134, like right where the fucking cemetery, what's that shit called? The forest lawn over there, fucking 134. You can see that fucking ditch. You can see the side of the river. We fucking. Then there was some dudes on there too. We capped them, but we did a big ass KOGs, and that shit fucking ran for years. That shit ran fucking years. I got a story about that shit too. Fucking Fish almost dropped the fucking 5-gallon bucket on me and shit. Like,
what happened?
Well, because you have to walk. The walls are flat, so you have to find the little ladder, the little fucking like rebar that comes out of the concrete. So I go down first, and then he was roping it down, and I guess the rope fucking bashed, and I just fucking, you don't hear it or nothing. It's like late at night. I just like happen to move or something. Like step out of the way, it's like, 5-gallon fucking bucket, and fucking, I don't know if we must have scooped that shit back up or something, because we just rolling it off the ground, because we fucking that thing took 2 nights to complete, and the first night I remember it was like a good 8 hours just doing the fucking, and I fucking walked it out, like counted the steps, and fucking I did the letters. And then all the homies just kept fucking filling in and shit. And yeah, dude, that was a dope time. I feel like that's like a moment in time that I always remember, like us doing that, and I think it was really good for the crew.
As you mentioned, in 2003, Retina gives you rank in KOG, and as you said, gives you the keys to the crew. Why do you think Retina had so much trust in you?
Maybe the people that were supposedly running KOG before him, I don't know, like I was telling you, there's a certain people that thought that's kind of like their shit. Maybe they were given rank too and fucking weren't doing shit with it. I don't know. That wasn't my goal, you know what I mean? Like when I came from D2D, I was like kind of doing that shit with D2D. So when I got in KOG, it was like a breath of fresh air. I didn't want to have to fucking worry about like the politics side of shit. It was like I just want to have fun and paint, you know? And then after the KOG battle, I feel like I was trying to contribute more or organize more and help out with that shit, you know, and like Fish and Sloth started calling meetings a little bit more, and which was dope, because prior to that, like I said, like I was mentioning, I got into KOG through LTSs. All the meetings I had gone to before that was always the LTS. Like there was really not much organization with KOG alone. It was just you know, when there was an LTS meeting, yeah, KOGs go, but it was more like KOGs were just on the sidelines, you know.
ARBE, you recently celebrated 25 years in KOG. Do you have any thoughts or feelings about remaining with one crew for so long?
I mean, I just like, personally, I'm just like loyal, I guess. I mean, I'm not like I feel like there's a trend maybe with graffiti to like get in different crews, a bunch of crews, and I just like don't have the desire to do that, you know what I mean? Unless like there's people I'm solid with, and it was like, you know, mutual thing, like they invited me to get in or something. But you know, I'm just fucking LTS KOG. I'm from another crew in Portland called HOD, the homie Deader. who's also in KOG. We kind of like swapped, you know. It's like he wanted to get me on, and fucking he moved to LA, and like we used to he was like 7-letter HOD, and you know, I feel like maybe he had different goals, you know what I mean, when he moved to LA, but he ended up chilling with us, and that's my brother from another mother, you know. So like that's the only other crew I've gotten into. Actually, I got into RTD too, which not the RTD from LA, but the Denver one, which our homie Jer, like that lives out in Denver. He put me on that, but through some politics or like, you know, just issues with people. Someone didn't like someone that was in KOG that's not in KOG anymore, but that I put him down. I just kind of since I put him on, I was siding with him when they were trying to like diss him, and that's kind of what made me. That kind of made me fucking not want to rep that shit anymore. And I know like a lot of like the homies that I know from RTD that are my friends, they fucking felt, you know, think that was whack move and shit. But that's what made me realize too, like being from a bunch of crews, shit gets mixed up, and it's, you know, it's better just to be the homies with them instead of, you know.
In recent news, ARBE, Fish, KOG, or writer you call a brother, stepped away from the crew. What were your feelings about that move?
Personally, man, I wish I wish that didn't happen. You know, Fish is one of the dudes that helped build KOG. Like, you know, I feel like he was in the crew before me, you know, and so I just feel like he's a positive person. He's a stand-up dude, you know. Like, I like Fish a lot, and to me, he's always gonna be crew, you know. Like, I wish he couldn't get out unless he got jumped out or something. Maybe he wouldn't get out. I don't know. I'm just fucking around, but I love Fish, man.
Did you convince him and try to make him stay?
I've had a little conversation with him, but it was like at a barbecue or some shit. There's a lot of shit going on, so we didn't really sit down and talk about it. But right away when knew it happened, I was sending him a text like.
Now, ARBE, I want to move on to current news. First, you were one of the first artists to visit Art Basel in the early 2000s before it became huge. What are your feelings about Art Basel these days?
I have no desire to go to Art Basel unless it's on some art shit. And we did some art shit out there, and it was all guerrilla. You know, it wasn't like, which was dope too, because like all the shows leading up to that were all in different states, and they were all like pop-up shows, that was like that was what started it. Is we all ended up going to Art Basel one time. Just by chance, we were like trying to get out there, and one of the homies from the crew was a travel agent at the time, and he got tickets for like $100. So it was like me and Versus were just gonna go, and then like homies coming, Dry's coming, Fish coming, like all the homies fucking came. We all ended up at the same we got an Airbnb together, and then that birthed like the I don't know if you guys know about like the Survive shit, the Super Vibre shit, which are these art shows I'm talking about that were in different states. There was like four of them. Or was it like Detroit was the first? There was a LA one, and then Detroit was the first one. Then Louisiana, I might be having it fucked up, but and then it was Oakland, and then Art Basel. But like the homie J Rock had ended up meeting up with us on random too. He went out there with some girl because he's living in Boston at the time, or Louisiana or some shit. He's going to like MIT and shit, and just happens to be there. And then we saw the movement. We saw what was going on. We just went out there for graffiti, but then it was like, damn, we seen this art shit, you know, like cracking. And at the time, what they were putting together, I just was supportive of it. Like I felt like that was another in the timeline, it was another mark in the crew where like some people were bitter because they weren't part of the show, and it's like there was like 4 artists, 6 artists, but the next year would have been another 6 artists, and it was like instead of like feeling like you're entitled to some shit, it's like just fucking support, you know. And that's what I did. I just went and supported, and if I was asked to do some canvases, I had no clue to what I would do. I didn't find a niche yet in my fine art, you know. But it opened my eyes to that shit. So like Art Basel was like dope to see shit like on a whole, like where you've seen cats from Europe coming, and like the New York heads, LA heads, and then like that was dope,
Last year at Art Basel, it seems like they painted a high rise, all of it. Different writers from all over the world came to paint their name on the high rise. Did you see that? And what did you think about that?
I saw it, and I thought it was kind of dope. I saw photos of it before it was like completely fucking.
Did you get an itch to go maybe hit up an ARBE?
Well, I didn't go to Art Basel last year. I didn't go. So, yeah. So no, I just saw like the dopest shit on that was like LA people. You know what I mean? Like the heads from LA did it right. Like not to diss anyone else, but this is the shit that stood out.
In recent news, there's been worldwide attention to LA's own Art Basel called the Oceanwide Plaza skyscrapers. Do you recall first hearing about the Oceanwide Towers, and what were your thoughts about that?
When I first heard about it, I was like, damn, that shit, I thought it was fucking crazy. I thought it was dope. Versus was trying to get me to go one night, and I was trying to paint. Like I have this, like, I'm trying to go at least, like, I'm going like once or twice a week, steadily for the last couple of years. So I was like, what's up? Me and him been trying to link up. But he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to fucking, those towers. And I was like, that shit was all over the news and shit. And I was like, my luck, I'm gonna be the one who fucking gets pinched by the cops. And then I was seeing so much of it that I was like, I'm straight. But I wanted to go, like, I was more interested in going just into the building and exploring. Cause like I've been up on a high rise, abandoned high rise once, and that was in Louisiana with fucking drying fish. Well, fucking during one of the art shows we had out there, we fucking took some acid and we climbed this fucking tall ass fucking, I don't know how big that shit was. It was huge. We got on the roof and fucking, once the door opened up, it was like all this wind and shit was coming. So I was like thinking about that shit, and it was fucking raining. And then like versus like all the spots are like gone. This fool versus like walked out onto the ledge a little bit, and I was like, in the rain, dog. I was like, like maybe if it wasn't raining, I'll go. So I didn't even fucking go. And then now. Maybe now I don't regret it now, but maybe that week following, a couple of weeks following, I was like, man, I should have went. I should have went and shit. But then I just started. It just seems too hectic. Also, like, I don't like need to like. I like just to be more a little low pro. I don't really want to like meet too many people when I'm out there doing it.
In your opinion, which was better, Art Basel in Miami or the Oceanwide Plaza?
The Oceanwide, dude. It's like fucking twice as tall, more buildings. I don't know the situation with that building over there that they painted in Miami. I heard it was a hotel or some shit. I'm not too sure, but like this was way higher. And then LA was like, you can see who fucking did the most on there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, hands down to fucking props to OTR when they did the fucking 3 fucking stories per letter. Like that shit was dope. It was like fucking props to that shit. And we were like, yo, some of the homies, me and Dewey, we're like, there needs to be some big KOG on there, big LTS. Like, we're probably the only ones that don't have it. You'd see these news clips where people are like, if you an LA rider, fucking you ain't an LA rider if you ain't hitting this shit.
Now, ARBE, moving on. I need to ask you about rumors that we're hearing on the street. Everyone is talking about a new vandal in Los Angeles. I get random messages on who is he? Where is he going next? Have you ever heard of this new writer in LA? Once and for all, ARBE, can you please clear up the rumors for everyone? Are you writing under another name? Can you please give us an exclusive and confirm or deny the rumors? ARBE, are you in fact POWDR LTS KOG?
Yeah, I guess the cat's out the bag. That's something like I've had a lot of fun going out there and painting. It's like the second coming, or like the clean slate for me, because like graffiti was I was getting bored of it or something, so the name switch was something that was coming, and I actually been doing it for a minute. The first powder piece I did was in 2014. But like I just wasn't pushing as hard because whatever, like my life situations, work or whatever. But it like got me to like enjoy. Like right now when I'm painting that name, I'm enjoying graffiti. Like I'm having the most fun with Graff that I ever had. Like even it reminds me back, except for when you first are getting into it. It's like almost equivalent to that, except now I'm like being more serious about it. It took me a minute to like start pushing it as like the way I am now, but that's only because like I feel like I always try to like reach out to someone to paint with, and I was like, man, fuck it, I'm just gonna go by myself. And I just made it. I made a pact to myself, or like I set a goal for myself to fucking go out one night a week and do something illegal, because like we were talking about the walls and stuff earlier. It's like I got tired of like doing a wall, or like my ADHD kicks in when I'm at a wall, and I'm like, I'm spending too much time at a wall. Like I'll go there 2-3 days after work. You know, I keep going back to it, and like I enjoy doing that too. I enjoy, but I'm having more fun enjoying this shit with bombing powder. And then when I started, and the whole thing was to fucking. It's almost like when I changed the name from the Y to the E. It was like oh shit, it's something new for me. But people not knowing who it was also is like it's like fun to do, you know. And like I did that shit with ARBE when I was fucking with the D2D homies. They didn't know I changed my name to ARBE. So it's like some fucking alter ego shit. That's like, and it's like what, like, or like, you know, some super villain, like who is that fool, you know? And like at the beginning, I was telling people like, oh, the fucking the little homie I'm schooling up, you know, or some shit like that. And then that name actually like opened up more doors for me when I came in with the POLVO, and then the fucking, you know, like I haven't done it yet, but I was like, I want to do a P-Funk piece. So then I started writing, like, sometimes if you ever see P37, that's me, because like that's the 37 is when I came up with the name. That's how old I was. So I'm fucking old. I'm old man and shit, you know. So like this is like the last wind maybe for me, you know. Like I'm not gonna be able to do this shit fucking forever. So I want to fucking push it as much as I can right now, and maybe that's why I'm just bombing. And you know, like I said, like I'm getting old. Like, I'm not gonna be able to bomb forever. I've had like injuries that kept me from painting. Like fucking, I had a tattoo apprenticeship for fucking 3 years. And I went on with that, went full into that. I had to push graffiti aside, and then the pandemic came. And since I was wet behind the ears with tattooing, the shop was like, you know, since you don't have a clientele, like we're supposed to close the shop, so they were like letting people in through the back. They ended up letting me go, and going through the apprenticeship was a bitch. I thought graffiti was bad. Like, no, you got some money involved with some artists. It's like fucking the egos are fucking way 10 times worse. And the printer, it was a bitch for me, and I was like, I felt like I let it go. I just said fuck it, you know. And the pandemic came, and I was like, I'm gonna go out more and paint as much as I could, as much as I can. And I was just tagging it a lot, you know, just getting out there and tagging, because like when I get spots, I like to fucking do the homework. I at least like to fucking go to it in the day and see the in and outs, or how to get in there or whatever. And if I don't do that, then I might just go out and go tagging, like just so I get that goal in, you know, and fucking it helped me cope with some things, because like my dog, I had a dog, my little dog was my baby. She died I think it was just 10 or 11, but Callie, yeah, my dog Callie, and I had her since she was 10 weeks, and I was like, I was involved with the weed trade, so I knew I was gonna go to the mountains and fucking do this grow. I had done it before, so I was like, I gotta get a dog. And I missed out on getting dogs before. Like, it's like the homie Doobies, dogs had puppies. I just didn't have a house I didn't have the means to have a dog. And the homie Squid fucking had a dog. I think maybe a year. They had puppies, and I tried to get one from him before, but I couldn't. And then I was gonna go up, and I was gonna go up north in like a couple weeks. He had a video of his dog on his Facebook, and I was like, hey, you know anyone who got any puppies? And he's like, I got a 10-week-old you can have. So that dog was with me fucking every day. I used to go mobbing with this dog. I was like walking down Wilshire with no leash, fucking catching tags. She'd just wait for me. She would just be right there, like, Callie. She fucking she starts seeing a cat or some shit, so I just call her name, she'll stop. You know, she was always without a leash, dude. Always mobbing with me, dude. And then like when she fucking passed, I was like, that shit fucking fucked with me, because like I was taking her to the vet, and they wouldn't let you in the vet because of the fucking pandemic. And she would always go to the vet like a champ. She didn't care. But when she saw them with their mask, and like I wasn't going, I saw how she got scared. And I was like, fuck, man, I can't fucking, I'm not gonna like take her in there and I can't fucking be with her and shit, you know? And I got like, did a, what is that shit called? GoFundMe to fucking, cause I already dropped like fucking 7 racks just to fucking find out, just trying to find out what was wrong with her. And then the surgery was gonna be like another 7 racks. So I did a GoFundMe and like was able to pay for the surgery. And then like I had this art show in downtown. So I was there a whole month after her surgery. And then like, I felt bad because after that month was up, when my show was up, that fucking the cancer thing, like what is it, like a cyst or some shit, it came back, and I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna drop fucking another 10 G's. Like, this is not gonna happen, you know. And they tell you there's like they'll say if it's a 1, 2, or 3, if it's 2 or 1, like she can make it. 3, fucking when they do the they take a little piece of it and biopsy. They were like, it's a 3. I was like, fuck. But that dog was fucking, she didn't care. She was still happy, you know, every day. It's like I learned a lot from that dog. So when I came home from work one day, fucking my lady was telling me, she's like, she's not doing good. That dog waited for me to come home to fucking die, dude. And I don't know if you ever witnessed that shit, or like, it was just crazy. Like, they go through these crazy like breathing changes, and fucking, you can tell she like it was just sad, bro. And then I took her to the fucking vet too, like after, to take her body. And like, I was depressed. I was in a deep depression, and then I just was like, graffiti fucking helped me get over that shit, you know? Cause I was like fucking, like people might trip out as like just a fucking dog, you know? But I was like, dude, that shit fucked me, dude. I didn't want to fucking get out of my bed and shit, you know? And it's fucking graffiti, like just fucking kept me like sane, and fucking just kept me like being normal, you know what I mean? Like, just get me out of depression. So that's when I started pushing like the powder more, you know, and then fucking then I started fucking around with POLVO, and I was like having fun with the fact that it's 2 different letters. So what I do is every time I paint, I just, what did I do last night? Oh, I did powder last night. Today's POLVO. I try to switch it up, or I'll judge it by the spot. But usually I just try to keep switching it up, you know. And yeah, man. So fucking. That's like, I haven't done an ARBE piece since fucking 2021. Like in Puerto Vallarta, we went right the same month my dog died, because I already had my ticket and shit, you know. It was weird how shit works, because like, what if I went out there on vacation and she died while I was gone? I would have been even like more fucked up, you know. It's a trip. But
ARBE, you're writing powder. Do you tell your crewmates what you're up to, or do you let them figure things out on their own? Because they must have seen the LTS KOG next to powder, right?
Yeah, well, the people I'm closest with knew right away. So, you know, like certain people, like they didn't know. Like I feel like if you knew me, you would probably know, you know. But in the very, very beginning of it, I did try to like, I was like, all right, I'm not known for throw ups, so I'm gonna do powder throw ups. I'm gonna start doing rollers. Like I never did like block letters. And if you like, you look on my Instagram, you'll see like, all right, I started doing like fucking rollers. And props to all the writers that fucking big block letters with roller paint, like fucking too much. Fucking that shit is fucking. You put a lot of work, like, you know, that shit's a bitch. So I give them fucking credit, you know, like. And I want to do more. I'm gonna do more, you know, fucking of those things. So I was just trying to do shit that you don't usually see ARBE do. I had an art show in downtown, a solo show in downtown in 2021. Loop sponsored it, so I had a fucking plethora of fucking paint and I did a piece on the outside of the gallery where I started fucking around, and like there's something there that triggered something, like where I was like, that shit unlocked the door to powder, or that's where I feel like the cat came out the bag a little bit to people who know the style, because it started showing. I feel like before that I did a pretty good job of keeping it different. Like I remember one time Sot was like, who the fuck is that? Like I thought that was like someone you putting under your wing and shit, you know. And I used to tell people, yeah, that's a little fucking Mexican kid, dog. This fucking skater kid that fucking schooling up, you know. To people that I didn't want to, like knowing that it was me. But then there'd be times where like I'll be painting trains, And then some writers show up, and I'll be like, "Oh, what's up, Powder? I'm doing a powder piece." And then some fools show up, "Hey, what's up, ARBE?" Like I fucking slipped, you know. But I feel like no one ever fucking caught it, you know what I mean? And it's a trip too, also, because like people are starting to call me that, you know, and like the homies will be like, "Polvo, Powder," like probably like 5 times before. I'm like, "What?" Because I'm used to like being called ARBE and shit, you know what I mean? So part of me doesn't want to let the cat out the bag. Part of me is it's fun for people to not know. Like, and I feel like that's kind of why I've been painting so much too. It's like to me, like I don't see myself really like bombing like ARBE anymore, dude. Like a lot of it was because of the tattooing. It's like being called ARBE, and then my face would get on blast. And then the art shows, I'm like always gonna do that shit under ARBE because that's like that's me. You know what I mean? So it's like a different identity, and I also wanted to show some other homies that are like newer cats in my crew that aren't painting, that are fucking. How you gonna get in the crew and not fucking earn your keep? Like I'll fucking switch up my name and fucking and do some shit. You know what I mean? And I'm fucking old, bro. Like you know what I mean? So I was trying to like influence or hype some people up. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to say any names, but there's certain people that are newer that I feel like they're good. They got, they can flex, but it's like this is the crew you wanted to be in, and like first and foremost, it goes without saying. It's like the bombing comes first, and like that's what's dope about I feel like LTS and like the other crews that are on the same like that level of like we're bombing, but we're piecing. It's like the bombing is just like it's intricate. It's not just a throw up, or fucking some straight letter shit. It's like it's like it's a little more, and that's why I feel like LTS fucking really contributed to that level of graffiti.
Powder, it's definitely a name blowing up all over Los Angeles. We're also seeing Powder with heavy drippers. Can you please talk about the influence of heavy drippers and Powder?
You mean the drippers, the fucking the roller, the pieces,
yes.
The pieces with the drips?
Yes.
I mean that's just going back to like what I was learning from like that I gathered that that like some LTS crew shit, like LTS KOG, like that's like what the crew was known for, or had a reputation for. Also, like a lot of kids back in the days, like I mentioned earlier, like other crews would know like that's a KOG style, that's an LTS style. Even if you're driving on the freeway, you can't read it, it's too wild. You knew what it was, you knew where it came from, whether they like, if you hate it or you love it. And I feel a lot of kids start the newer generations are like trying to do that shit. There's a lot of it going on, and which is cool, I guess. It's like they got influence. It's like it's dope. But I feel like when they're not crediting where they got the influence, I kind of have an issue with. I like not personally, like I'm not like angry. I just think it's kind of it's whack if you're gonna do the shit and not give credit where it's due. Like if if you don't know where that shit came from, you shouldn't be doing it. And if fucking back in the day that was some LTS KOG shit, and fucking you wouldn't try to do it. You would just unless you were affiliated. I feel like it was kind of like there's a rite of passage to be able to do that, you know what I mean? And now I feel like it's just kind of watered down. So the reason why I do it is because it's like LTS KOG tradition, and it's our shit, and I'm just trying to just hold on to what's already ours. Not mine in general. I'm just like I'm a student of LTS KOG. Like I didn't make the shit up.
We see Powder and Polvo in new spots as well, such as pillars on the freeways. You're a self-described pillar killer. Why do you enjoy painting pillars so much? What triggers that spot?
So where that came about was in Oakland. I was with the homies Natural and Anchor, and out there in Oakland is like it's really saturated, just like LA, but like over there it's more like sometimes toys get capped and shit, out here. Like some of the homies might respect them and like, nah, I don't want to go over them. Fucking to me, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go over that shit if it's fucking whack or fucking no, I don't know, like no disrespect, but if I could burn it and It's like I would never go over anyone who fucking has fucking a name for themselves and has done work, no matter what the style is. I don't deliberately go over anybody, but you know, if the shit's fucking boo shit, I'll fucking go over it. Over there in Oakland, they kind of like, there'll be some whack ass shit, and they're like, nah, I gotta let that shit ride. Like, fucking, it's different, I guess. You know, I feel like it's more friendly over there. Like, you know, everyone's kind of more cool and shit, and no matter what the level is, and over here there's a more status thing going on. So anyways, we couldn't find a spot. We all like to paint big, you know, like we do fucking big ass pieces. So we couldn't find a spot for the three of us. And we ended up doing some sound wall on the freeway one night. We already did like a couple spots, and I just was like, the BART was going right above us, and I saw the pillars, and I was like, dude, would be sick to fucking get the pillar. And well, that was just talk, you know. So I came back home or whatever, and fucking a month or two go by, and ended up going back up there. And then we were all gonna go paint some spot in San Francisco, and we're all like fucking trying to figure out whose car to go into and this and that. I was like, dude, you got a ladder? This fool got a ladder. I got a ladder. I was like, I know, and I already scoped out a pillar spot out there that I was gonna get by myself. And I was like, dude, we should go hit these pillars. So they were down with it, and we hit them, and then fucking that was it. I was just like, dude, I like the challenge for one, doing vertical piece. I was like, who does them? I'm sure people have rocked pillars before, but I don't really see like I haven't seen no one doing it like that, you know. So my goal is just to start fucking come down here. I kept doing them in the base, and they were running. I go back up, oh, they're still running. I'm gonna start doing them in LA. So I did a couple in LA, and I was like getting some good feedback. And then the reason why I'm kind of still pushing, I've been slacking since the year since 2024 started. The momentum on the pillars, but I'm gonna pick it back up. But my goal is to like I want to fucking print a book, or a little magazine, or just like a little book, fucking 20-page magazine with fucking image on each side. So I'll have 40 images, and that's like what like started motivating me to keep doing more. And then doing that and doing so, it became like a niche. I feel like, all right, I see like I'm getting some good feedback, and no one's really doing them. So I just fucking kept pushing on them. And then they're just fun to do too. Like I'll go with the fucking roller extension pole, and then fucking do it with the buff, and then I got the ladder, and I just fucking start outlining it.
How would you describe your style with powder? Do you try to make it completely different from ARBE? Or are there some similarities?
Well, I feel now that there's some similarities, but also I feel like if you like look at my last ARBE piece, I feel like you can see there's some like that I'm maybe also because it was a legal wall and shit, but you can tell I'm putting more into it, I guess. And with powder, I'm just like there's like you'll see this will be like a solid color, like all white, all blue, whatever the filling. I'm not doing a bunch of colors, and I'm just like a lot of it's buff and fucking buff paint and fucking couple cans of fucking whatever the outline is and shit, you know. And I just try to take a different approach. I know you'll see similarities in not just between ARBE and powder, but just in like if you see a powder piece and then the next powder piece might look the same, but they're also different. Like, and that's what I've tried. That's what I try to take pride into is make every piece different. You know, I would do that shit with ARBE too, but like I just feel like this is a little bit more. Like I just I don't really sketch that much, even though I should. Or I just fucking wing it out. I'll start with the roller and fucking it just comes out a little different, you know, every time.
Do you think we'll ever see an ARBE and powder collaboration on the same wall?
Damn, I thought about I've been thinking about doing that actually, like stacked, like intertwining, or even with powder and POLVO, I have these sketches that I've been meaning to do, but it's like I've been telling you, I haven't been doing many legal walls, like the name POLVO came from powder, like dust. But if you Google Google POLVO and do the images, like you'll see there'll be like dust and shit too, like powder, but there's octopus. So, but like octopus that they eat, you know. But I've been drawing, that got me drawing octopuses, and I started doing that shit when I was the tattoo apprenticeship. So it had me drawing like every day. which was dope. But I started like, you know, learning the techniques of how like the tattooers go about it, like drawing a design out with the red pencil and then fucking layering it or whatever. And then I started doing the octopus like at the top of my dome. Like I was like, I don't need a fucking so I don't need like to reference anything. So hopefully, like eventually, I'll start banging out some octopuses. Like I kind of like I see myself doing that shit. Like not even doing any letters, you know, just do the fucking octopus. But before I introduce that shit, though, I'm gonna do like I got these ideas where it's like the octopus is kind of like morphing into like letters and shit. You know, like there's lettering and octopus like in the structure. So yeah.
Do you take extra pride in bringing two names to prominence in Los Angeles graffiti culture?
I don't know about like taking. I mean, I take pride into doing it, like just in general.
Because even bringing one name, as far as you've brought it, is incredible. But two names.
Well, it was. See, that's the thing is, I stopped giving a fuck. I stopped caring about like before it was like I said, I started doing powder was born in fucking 2014. Maybe that year there's probably only like 4 or 5 burners that I did, and then like in 15 you can see I started coming out a little more. I started bombing a little bit more. Like I got with verses and fish, like with homies, you know, Brega. I started coming out with the name, but then like I might not do anything for 2 months after that. So it was like slowly. I wasn't as active, you know, and but it was hard because sometimes people would like, for instance, on Cesar Chavez and Mission, there was on the corner right there. They tore down that fucking auto body spot is. It's all just a fucking field now. There was a building in there, and fucking we got the roof, and I got capped by like it was a crew that capped me, and they're I'm not gonna say who they are, but they're not even, they're like from the IE and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck, like. It's obvious, like, it was me, Fish, we're all in the same color scheme. Like, I didn't even go with those fools. I went after and just matched up with them because they were like, get the roof before it gets spot jocked. And I get capped. What the fuck? I go back and cap it back, and then fucking, I remember Fish just telling me, like, if it was an ARBE piece, they probably wouldn't have capped it. And I was like, yeah, but it's like KOG still next to it. Like, they're just like, the LTS KOG should carry the weight, you know? Next to the name, it's like would they just think it's fucking, I don't know what it was about, but to me, I just fucking was like, you know what, I'm not gonna let that ego, because a lot of people are like, why are you doing a powder? Why are you doing powder? Trying to get me to do ARBE and shit. And then I was just like, I don't know if I'm ARBE, I'm gonna still do an ARBE piece, like I just don't know when. It's like I'm not done, but it's like I'm having fun with this, and like this is like just like a, you know, like born again or something, you know what I mean? It's it's just a second wave of my life, dude. It's a different chapter, you know. And I never thought I was gonna do that shit, and like it wasn't planned out to like before. It was like the plan was to just use it as a bombing name and doing illegal shit, and I would still do like a powder ARBE when like on walls or, you know, whatever, if I travel or on trains. I always told myself, I'll still paint ARBE on trains. I just recently started painting trains a little again, and I'm just doing fucking powder or POLVO pieces. You know, so I feel like, yeah, that's where it's at with me right now. Yep.
Now, ARBE, I'd like to discuss the current era of Los Angeles graffiti. Can you please share your feelings on today's culture? And do you see any differences from when you started writing to today?
Yeah, I see a lot of differences. I see the young generation they want like instant gratification and I also see that amongst themselves. I don't feel like if my homie was painting and he did a whack ass L, I'd be like, that L's dope, dog. You still telling me it's dope? And I feel like all my era would have been like, that L's whack. That shit's hurting. You need to fucking fix that shit. And fucking we fucking criticized each other, creativity, like, you know, constructive criticism to help build each other, not to fucking talk shit, even though or to put anyone down, even though it was shit talking, but it was just for motivation. You know, it's just like fun. You know, it's like fucking sitting in jail and bullshitting all day, or fucking soldiers bullshitting all day because, you know, hanging around a bunch of dudes at the bar or whatever, just talking shit. It's not fucking to be taken personal, you know. And I think that these kids fucking think they're on the level of fucking people that have been doing it fucking years, or like even if even if it's not on the how long someone has been doing it or not, it's the on the style wise. It's like if you're not putting in to be fresh and you're not working on your craft, and you think your fucking throw up should fucking be like ride over a fucking some dope pieces, or you're upset that fucking someone that gets his dope went over your shit, like step your shit up. You know, like I remember going over cats before, and when I meet them, like, hey, you went over me. You're like, oh shit. Like, no, they were like, that's down LTS KOG went over me or some shit. Like they were like stoked. They kind of, it's like when I would say like I knew where I was, I knew what wave I was on when I got into LTS. I knew I wasn't on the level to be like painting right next to Sin and Retina. Like shit I wasn't ready. And I feel like now these kids just think they're fucking ready. Or like they recycle styles, you know, they want to fucking do dirty style pieces and shit. I don't like when like I don't know if it's just off of influence or like if they want to like get our attention, you know what I mean? But I just feel like it's happening so much that it's whack. Like I don't like make your shit. You know, like this is like I talked about the fucking table with all the different fucking styles on it. Like they haven't been told that, but maybe you know if they were like guided the right way, they'll try to get their own shit. But he's like, you can do the same exact S as SOT, or you know the same fucking like doodads on your shit. Like I don't know, it's just getting kind of like watered down. You know.
Are there any artists in this modern era that you enjoy seeing up, that catch your attention, that are pushing graffiti?
Yeah, there's some. You want me to tell you who?
Just the name or two, if you have any, maybe from your own crew.
Like here in LA, well, definitely like my own crew is my fucking favorite for like, no, hands down. So like my own crew, I would say, you know, Focus. He's like one of my inspirations and influences. Like my influences like would be fucking him. Some Taboo back in the days. I was inspired. Air, Retina. From you know back in the day, I feel like it shows. Like you look at my old shit, it's fucking obvious. Sinner and fuck J-Rock Burrell, like Dry. Those are my favorite writers from my crew. You know. And like those are like for me when I paint, like that's I want my friends that I'm tight with to be like, yeah, that's dope. Like I kind of like do it for them and myself, you know, like whoever, you know, for whoever. I mean, now it's different for me. I do everything from like it's all for myself.
Polvo. You've had a long history in Los Angeles graffiti culture. Can you share some of the females that have caught your eye on the street? Are there any that come to mind that you give props to putting in that work?
I mean, for again, from LA, like hands down would be Tribe, even though she's not active anymore. I just remember back in the days, like when you found out, damn, Tribe's a chick. Like the shit she should, like the rooftops, the spot she had, like just looked like she fucking had no fear. I can't say like. I don't really see any females topping her in LA. I don't want to fucking offend anybody either. But in as a whole, though, like in graffiti, the graffiti like world or whatever, I fucking that girl, she was fucking gets down, you know. Like I see her flexing.
From where?
I'm not sure where she's from. She's not. I don't think she writes a crew. I think she's from the Midwest or somewhere like where you can paint trains all day and shit. Like also like if you have a dope spot like to flex like that, you should be fucking you know getting your skills up and shit. Like I know there's probably a female writer that I should fucking mention. I just can't think of any right now. Like come to mind because I see a lot of. I noticed that these last, I don't know, 5-6 years or so, there's a lot of girl graffiti writers now. Before it was like scarce, you know. There was few. There wasn't that many. Or if they were, or the ones that were into graffiti weren't really like pushing it. You know what I mean? There's always been like the girl graffiti writers. you know, in LA that fucking like that were doing their thing, and then I feel like they kind of just drifted away. You know, I remember Queen was getting up a lot. Envy, Secret. There's a few. I see fucking Andy. I think she gets down. She gets down.
Polvo, what do you feel has been your biggest accomplishment in graffiti so far?
Man, that's a good question. I feel like, geez, I still don't know yet. I still have some painting to get out of my system. You know, I think I could do something bigger and bolder. I need to do something, you know, a spot that's gonna fucking go down in the history books. Shit, dude. As of now, like, I can't really fucking say. I just think that the little streak that I'm on right now would probably be the biggest. It would answer that question.
Do you have any regrets or wishes you would have done something different in graffiti?
Maybe I wish I could networked a little more with writers, like, you know, like throughout my 30s, you know, the last 10 years or so. Travel more too, which is something that I plan on. Like, that's still like, you know, that's just gonna happen. I just, you know, I want to. One goal that I want to do is fucking. One thing I really want to do is get clean trains. I want to travel, and like I have to do that shit before I like put the hat up, you know. Because I want to, if I can get, you know, get to Europe or wherever, and Germany, paint a couple fucking clean trains, subway cars.
The year 2030 is quickly approaching. We're 6 years away. What do you feel is going to be the future of graffiti? Where do you see graffiti going?
Fuck, dude. I mean, I feel like the cats that are you know, that been on the top or whatever, you know, running their show and have been, I think, are gonna still do great shit. You know, fucking, I don't know, like me personally, I would like to also like, you know, get into the art world more and like hopefully make a living off of it. But for me, it's really important that it's like an evolution of my graffiti, what I do in the gallery, but I don't want to do graffiti in a gallery. You know what I mean? Like, I want it to be fucking like what it's evolved, you know, like it evolved into. Like, I feel like graffiti should stay on the fucking street. And the future, I feel like, I don't know, man. I would like to say good things and be optimistic about the future. But like coming like for LA, I just don't. I see like it's kind of going downhill. I feel like I wish like these kids would, like these new kids that are from LA, I wish they would own that shit and know that LA brought its own shit to the table in the big scheme of things in the graffiti world. Like, LA had its own way, hold its shit down, had its own style, had its own you know, entity in the game. And now it's kind of getting watered down, where like these kids aren't like, they're not doing like LA styles, or they're not representing LA like it should be, or how it would. I mean, I can't say should be, because this is what it is. You know, it is what it is. This is what it is evolved to. But I wish it was like I wish the same traditions and shit were passed on and being carried.
The name ARBE, you brought it to legendary status. Now you're starting your run with POLVO and POWDR. How would you like to be remembered in Los Angeles graffiti culture? How should we remember you?
Shit, man. That's a good question, man. That's kind of like hard for me to answer. I feel like I feel kind of like an underdog. Like I said, you know, how I was saying, I wish I networked more. Maybe it's my fault, but I feel like some of like the OGs, like triple OGs or whatever in the game, like never really like acknowledged me. You don't see me networking with the older people, and then I'll see people that come in after me, like a generation after me, you know, doing shit with older cats, and like I just feel like did I make it wrong? Am I doing it right? You know what I mean? I just feel like so that's why maybe I'm still here to trying to prove myself. But I like at the same time at the age I'm at and where I'm at in my life is like there's nothing to prove anymore, which is making this graffiti shit like fun for me. You know, like I might fucking. You know, shit might happen to me tomorrow, and I might not be around, and I don't know if I made a. I would like to hope I made a decent mark, or you know, left a footprint in the scene to be remembered. You know, like that's because besides any like art that I do, like graffiti is all I have and all I've done. You know, and so like it'd be a shame if it was not for nothing. So if I could just be remembered for fucking the work I've done. Would be fucking what would be dope.
I always ask our guests to please give us their top 5 all-time list or their Mount Rushmore of LA graffiti vandals. Can you please share with us your top 5 all-time list?
All-time LA?
Yes.
Okay, fucking Air number 1. Shoot, Air. Fucking, it's hard. I'm gonna say Sinner. I'm gonna say. I want to say Euler. And I want to say Saber. I got one more? One more. Myself.
Definitely a list of LA legends. ARBE, before we close this interview, I just want to say that GRAFFTV is taking part in our first ever hip hop event called Rhymefest on August 17th. Have you ever heard of Rhymefest?
I heard of it. It's like it was going around back in the days. It was gone for a minute, so it's back.
It's back.
Yeah.
It's going to be at the LA Coliseum. Did you ever attend?
I've been to Rhymefest.
What can we expect there?
I mean, I would remember a bunch of like ciphers, and fucking expect a good time, man. People fucking pop locking and fucking rapping. Graffiti. I don't know if they have walls. They have walls there?
Yeah, man. They're saying that they're going to have over 30 LA graffiti artists.
Oh, that's dope. I saw a lineup for that shit, and it was pretty dope. It was like Freestyle Fellowship, Living Legend. So it's like the era, like the hip hop I grew up, listening to.
Nice, man. Hopefully you could come down and check it out, and we'll see you there, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, ARBE, before we close it down, if you could say anything to future generation of writers, what would it be? Do you have any advice to share?
Yeah, man. Just work on your craft. Don't worry about all the dumb shit. Like, fucking graffiti don't last forever. So, it's like it's hard to not like, get upset if some shit gets gone over. But like that shit is so small in the big scheme of things in life to where like you can't like you get into some dumb shit over fucking graffiti. I think fucking when it comes to that shit, it should be handled the old school way, like battle. And there's haven't been a battle in forever. No one battles. You never see there's no crew battles. There's no like one-on-one battles like back in the day. That's the way the shit should be handled. And then if not, duke it out. And then fucking that's it. It's a wrap. But carrying all this beef or this shit like with guns, like it's fucking stupid. Like I feel like tag banging is still strong like in LA. Southern California, I think it's like always gonna be there. Like, and I think that it's like pretty stupid, when it's just like this. We're all doing graffiti for the same thing, like, or at least the majority, right? It's like for one, just to paint and like freedom of expression, whether like that shit could be ugly, some toy shit, but that guy's still expressing himself one way or another. He's going through some shit, and that's just how he feels. He can cope maybe. For me, that's how it is. Like for me, and I know for some of my friends, it's like a stress reliever. It's like I can't afford a shrink, but that's my shrink. So I just want to see like less bullshit going on, because there's a lot of that shit going on right now in the streets. Like, and there's a lot of knuckleheads out there, fucking that are brave behind the fucking their homies, rolling deep and trying to fucking sweat people and shit. Like when they're out there painting, I paint by myself, dude. I got people rolling up on me and shit, and like I don't need anyone fucking to hold my hand or watch or be my eyes behind me when I paint. And I think like that says a lot, you know, to writers that are like doing it for themselves, that are real writers by heart, and not doing it for a trend. Is like the ones that will do it no matter what are like the ones that are gonna like stand out the most, I feel like, and be successful. Like if you're in this for like a trend and then like whatever, those guys are gonna wash away. But if you want to be built to last, you gotta fucking work on your shit. And I feel like from LA, I wish that the new writers would like start carrying the traditions and like flex and bring some shit to the table. Because like doing some shit that you see on the internet, like throw ups and shit, is like, that's all I see now is throw ups. LA wasn't like that before, you know. Like I feel like we have more to offer, and like the world looks at LA like and New York when they think of the States. That's it, you know. Well, you got the Bay too, but we got the West Coast and New York, and I feel like these kids aren't like I don't know if it's my generation that didn't school them up or what, but I just feel like there needs to be like some unity and some like pride in fucking your city.
Wow. ARBE, thank you again for sharing your history with us, for teaching us about graffiti more in depth. We really appreciate it. Before we end this interview, would you like to give any shout outs?
A lot of that shit is just those are my opinions too, dude. Like, you know, like I want, like what I'm sharing is just like my point of view. Maybe people might not agree with some of the things I said, but yeah, it is what it is, you know. But yeah, I like to give shout outs to fucking my crew, LTS KOG, my D2D homies, fucking Bleach, what's up? You know, all my friends that I've met through graffiti, and all the people I've met through the graffiti that been supportive and have been real with me. What's up? I love you guys.
ARBE, POLVO, POWDR, I'd like to thank you for joining us and sharing your historic career. It's been an honor meeting you and finally hearing about your origins and contributions to Los Angeles graffiti culture. We wish you nothing but the best in your future endeavors and hope to hear from you soon in future updates. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us again. This has been Los Angeles graffiti legend, ARBE KOG LTS.
Thank you guys, thank you.